Welcome to the new RiverCityGamers Podcast, hosted by SCXCR and Well Unreal 007, as well as many other members from the RiverCityGamers website. Stay tuned for all the gaming news, new pickups, and everything else we feel like talking about on the RiverCityGamers Podcast.
Hello and welcome to the RiverCityGamers. Yeah! I am
I am yeah.
And I'm Blondeguygamer. I haven't really heard the song myself that they're referencing, so yeah.
Well, you'll hear it a lot around Christmas when I assume you get Xenoblade Chronicles X.
Yeah, I assume so.
You get it for Christmas, good. Just put the mute button on sometimes, but not all the time.
Oh, I'm sure I'll be able to tolerate the music that you guys can make.
Well, at least it's not the daytime version. I hate that one worse.
Guys, save that for the games we played discussion.
You're right, but honestly, it really needs to make gaming news.
Gaming news! So real.
We might as well just start off with this thing that happened. Cloud is in Smash.
Yeah,
Yep.
that was a thing.
It's a thing, and you can tell how late we're talking about this, considering how many times we had to delay the podcast. It's a shame that we're going to be talking about this, because by the time this podcast is going to go up, the final Smash Direct would have already happened, which, since we're recording right now, that's tomorrow. Oops.
We could just interject just any statement, really, saying, "Wow, that was a Smash Direct. I really liked that announcement."
I just like the fact that Smash Man is finally in. That's cool. But where's Goku? What do you mean Samurai's not making any more Smash games?
Okay, before this goes too far off topic, I bring this up not because of just the idea that Cloud is in Smash, but also the backlash to it. Namely, the people who started a petition to have Cloud not in Smash.
That was a thing?
That was a thing.
I was
That's
not
just another.
even aware.
That is just another. Once again, just another throwaway petition that people just sign in, and it's not really going to go anywhere because there are far more people that were genuinely excited to see Cloud and Smash.
I'm just indifferent to it.
That's exactly how I feel. I think the petition would have been more fitting if Lightning got announced, but that didn't happen.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Well, if Lightning got announced, there would have been a genuine
There would have been general outcry.
There would have been genuine backlash.
Let's get away from that for a little bit.
Alright, sure.
This one has to do with Kickstarter. There was a study done recently about how many Kickstarters on average fail to deliver what they're offering. And they put it as a percent. As a percent, how many Kickstarters do you think failed to deliver on what they advertise?
Are you talking as in Kickstarters that got funded and then just sucked when released?
No, he's talking about Kickstarters that didn't reach their goal.
No. I'm talking about ones that get funded and then don't... Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure via the wording, so that's what I thought you said.
I just misheard you.
Oh god, I can't remember if the Yog Adventures was a Kickstarter.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, that one got funded, but it never came
failure.
out.
Yeah, they got hundreds of thousands of dollars for it, and then said, well, we're not going to make the game, but here's a free key to a different game that you probably don't care about.
So percentage-wise, I don't know, because there's probably a ton, that to keep track of.
Potentially, and there could be.
I want to gauge around 30 to 40%, because I don't know how many Kickstarters actually succeeded in.
I'm kind of lowballing it here, but I'll just say 25, even though it could potentially be a lot more.
Well, according to a survey of over 47,000 Kickstarter backers, the percentage of successful Kickstarters that fail to deliver what they offer is about 10%.
Okay, so way lower than both of our predictions.
Yeah, that's the thing. When a Kickstarter fails, especially one that's as high profile as the Yogscast one that you brought up, it really makes waves and can turn off a lot of people. But overall, the grand majority of Kickstarters do deliver on what they offer.
like Shovel
That's
Knight,
good.
Pillars of Eternity,
Never Any Nightmares.
Undertale, I think, was kickstarted.
Was it?
Now that I think about it, yeah, I think so.
Let me check that real quick.
Yeah, I mean, I may be wrong, but I think it was because I think they were back. Yeah, I think it was because in the credits you can dodge like special thanks names, and I'm pretty sure those were backers.
It was funded by Kickstarter.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, there's also Armor Krog, even though some would argue with the bugs it had when it was launched, but so it is good to know that a good majority of these projects that do get funded do deliver on what they promise. Although there is still like 10% is still a few that didn't exactly.
And we still got like some games that are not quite out yet or won't be out for like a few years. And we're still going to wait on. We're still waiting on Bloodstained. Mighty Number 9 is getting closer and closer, and that may fall into the low percent of not delivering. That depends. But Bloodstained we gotta wait on. Ukulele we gotta wait on. We gotta wait on Shenmue.
Well, Mighty Number 9's still coming up regardless. I just assume they just had to delay it to make sure that it's good when it launches.
Yeah, nothing will ever be Yogg's Adventures bad, so don't worry.
Well, speaking of delivering on promises, Fallout 4.
Yeah, that was a game that came out recently and sold a lot.
Yep.
And I bought it too.
Yeah, it made a lot of money, and Bethesda also spent a lot of money on it. Can you guess how much money they spent on TV ads for Fallout 4?
Somewhere in the millions, I'm guessing.
It is in the millions.
10 million?
50 million.
$14 million in TV
Okay, good.
ads.
Oh, I was close-ish.
I was way off.
The only people that spent more on TV ads for their game, Activision for Call of Duty Black Ops 3. They spent $18.6 million. And this is actually a huge turnaround, because in this time span, the top 5 did not consist of any mobile games. Before like November, TV spots were dominated by mobile game advertising, but as it got closer to the holiday, the console games took over.
Well, yeah, because
games came out.
Yeah, any holiday season, like a lot of games and consoles are going to sell, so.
Alright, and I have one last one I'm going to mention. There have been rumors circulating about Nintendo's next console, the NX.
Yeah.
And there were details leaked about how the controller's basically going to be a giant touchpad. Or a tablet, or something along those lines.
That's not really too outlandish for Nintendo, considering that they've been focusing on touchscreens to some capacity with the Wii U and the DS and 3DS and stuff like that. But I guess this is like a full-on like touchpad type of controller, kind of like with like I guess like a phone or something like that.
Well, actually,
or a smartphone.
There was an illustration included in the patent application that they sent for this, and I'm going to link you to an article which has that picture.
Once it loads, because my internet sucks. Oh yeah, it's kind of like a oval shaped type of thing. Now, of course, this is just a patent or like a concept initially, right?
Yeah, this was just something that was submitted as part of the patent application. So, this is just like a really rough, like, base concept drawing.
Yeah. But it does seem like if that whole oval is going to be a touchscreen, then yeah, it's probably going to be purely touchscreen based, or at least with the thumbs anyway. Although it does look like there's shoulder buttons, so it could be like a hybrid of sorts.
And we can't see if there's anything behind it either.
Yeah, exactly. So, who knows what it will actually look like or what the actual design will be. I mean, we're still pretty much waiting on announcements on what the NX is really going to be at this point. So,
Wait till E3, I guess.
Yeah, probably.
Yep. Can't wait till E3.
I can't wait to be disappointed again. But let's not talk about disappointment any longer. Let's just get away from gaming news and talk about upcoming releases, which is going to be possibly the fastest upcoming releases thing we'd ever do. Because there is nothing.
Yeah, pretty much all the games for the holiday.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, all the games that were pretty much like the holiday games are pretty much already out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a good majority already came out in November, with few games in December that are already out, including Devil's Third.
We'll get to that later.
Yeah,
And Xenoblade.
Well, yeah, except Devil's Third is the joke and Xenoblade is actually getting advertised, which surprised the shit out of me when my friends told me that they saw Xenoblade ads and thought of me, and I'm like, wait, they're advertising the game?
Yeah, Nintendo advertising a game that doesn't have Mario or Link or Samus in it?
I gotta see if there's an actual commercial. Let me see if it's uploaded on YouTube to confirm this.
Probably, but yeah, I mean, I guess Nintendo realized that, hey, the first Xenoblade Chronicles was really well received, at least critically. I don't know how well it sold over here, but I imagine it might be at least a moderate enough for it to make him realize, oh yeah, the people here really wanted it. So and
it
then
sold over 400,000 copies in the U.S. Well, North America region, I should say.
That's not bad for a JRPG over here. It probably sold more than some Tales games over here, but yeah, I mean, the fact that they realized that and they were like, oh yeah, this is the next game initially, so we might as well advertise it.
And the new 3DS version in North America sold almost 200,000 copies. Well, anyway, what we were originally going to talk about in this section is the no games coming out for the rest of December, as you might expect. And then pretty much nothing comes out until, well, near the beginning of January. There's Nitro Plus Blasters Heroines Infinite Duel for PlayStation 4.
Okay, what is that even?
I don't fucking know. It's an Xseed game.
Okay.
Then there's the Resident Evil Origins collection later in the month.
Wait, in February or January?
January.
US? Because I only heard about the Japanese.
US.
Oh, that's good. All right. I might grab that, maybe.
That's the HD versions of Resident Evil
1 and 0.
Yeah, Resident Evil Remake and 0, right?
Yeah.
Yep, and it's physical, which means I might grab it. I mean, I've already played both games on the GameCube pretty much to completion. I might do it again, maybe, but
I still need to play through.
Yeah, it's not that high on my list, but
I still need to play through 0.
And lastly, Lego Marvel's Avengers, I guess.
Marvel, baby.
Sure. The Lego games are just good enough anyway. They're harmless, so why not?
Whatever. Anyway, that's it for upcoming releases.
Yeah.
There's like a Final Fantasy game somewhere in there, but I don't give a shit.
Was that like the 3DS one or something?
Yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, what have we been playing recently?
Where do we even start?
Well, do you want to start with me or end with me? Because I think it pretty much has to be one of those two.
I'd say best for last, so you go last. Because I already know what you're going to talk about.
Oh, you do?
I don't want to start, though, so Blondie, you go.
Okay. In terms of like a couple of 2 games that I actually played through and beaten pretty recently, back during the autumn Steam sale, I got Ori and the Blind Forest, which is a Metroidvania type of game, and I of course like those types of games. So, and I decided to get that off of Steam, and I played through it, and I really liked it. It was like the visuals alone, like I'm sure it'll be brought up during the topic later on, but the visuals were definitely worthy of the praise it's gotten, because it's traditional style like 2D art in the game, and it's done very well. I even go as far as say that this is like one of the best like 2D like side-scrolling games I've played at least in recent years. And in terms of the actual gameplay, it is a pretty standard Metroidvania, but your character Ori, which is kind of like a forest guardian type of creature, he's small but he's very nimble, and you have a good sense of flow as you jump around and platform. You can climb up. You eventually can climb up walls. You can do all sorts of stuff later on as you get more abilities, kind of like in a Metroidvania that sense. The only thing that I guess was just very slightly lackluster is the actual combat, because in the combat it's more of just you hammering the X button to shoot out these fire streams, I guess you could say, and it just automatically goes towards nearby enemies and stuff, and you just keep mashing until they die, and avoid getting hit until they die, kind of thing. And there isn't a whole lot of enemy variety, but it still does the job of just giving you an obstacle, obviously, of like all these enemies everywhere. And the level design, I think, really complements like Ori's movement and abilities very well. What's also interesting is that there are no checkpoints, but you yourself make your own checkpoints, because you basically make an imprint, and if you die, you just respawn from that last made imprint you made.
So would that technically mean save stating?
In a sense, except it uses a little bit of your energy, so you can't just like save scum all the time. And there's some sequences later on where you can't do that, which I guess would be a minor fault if you keep dying during them, because you have to do these like fast-paced, I guess, sequences of like avoid not dying type of things. Like there's a few of them sprinkled throughout the game, but the only problem is that there's no traditional checkpoints in those, so you kind of have to do it in one shot. Otherwise, you'll keep dying. But you have collectibles to increase your energy. You have a skill tree you access within those self-made checkpoints, and it's your standard like being able to find items and increase your combat abilities. So that way it's like even easier than it already is. But it still has a sense of satisfaction. And as well as like abilities to eventually like be able to breathe underwater while swimming and that kind of stuff. So and it definitely has kind of like a nice heartwarming story. It does get pretty emotional like pretty early on in the game too. So there's that, if you like the feels, I guess you could say. But yeah, for like just a Metroidvania, I really enjoyed it, and I do recommend it if you like that style of game.
Well, good to hear, because that's still on my wish list.
Well, next time it's on sale, I recommend getting it.
Alright, give me like 7 days.
Yeah, it'll probably be on the Christmas sale or whatever, winter sale or whatever sale Steam will have in like soon. Anyway, now the most recent game I played through and beaten was, well, it was not quite as enjoyable as Ori and the Blind Forest. And of course, we have the new Star Wars movie coming out. Everyone's talking about it. Everyone's gonna
the
go
one that if
see
you
it.
didn't pre-order your tickets from GameStop, you couldn't go see with pre-order
GameStop.
bonuses at the theater.
Well, it was a given that on opening day it was going to be like instantly sold out, because it was going to be that big
And
of
it
a...
sucks, because opening day is like my only day off during the weekend work thing, and I can't go see it.
But anyway, in lieu of the recent I guess Star Wars hype, I decided to play a Star Wars game, and there's been a few Star Wars games that I have and have played throughout the years that were pretty good, like the Rogue Squadron games and all that. But this I picked up for cheap a while ago, and I decided to play through it, and it was Star Wars: The Force Unleashed, which, while had some interesting ideas and some kind of cool ideas, the execution wasn't really all that great with me. And overall the game was kind of frustrating to me. Not to mention there was a lot of bugs that happened. I don't know if it was because I was playing the PlayStation 3 version, but that game's kind of a mess. But essentially the game is just, I guess you could say it was LucasArts' answer to God of War in those styles of games. But at the same time, it tried to at least do something interesting with the narrative, in that you apparently play as Star Killer, which, if you're a big Star Wars nerd, you would probably know where that name is referenced to. But he's essentially Darth Vader's secret apprentice, because this is pretty much a glorified fan fiction where it's like, oh, Darth Vader had a secret apprentice the whole time to try and have him, to eventually overthrow the Emperor, because that's just what the Sith do. They just backstab each other perpetually. That's all they ever do, apparently, if you know the Star Wars lore. But anyway, you have your lightsaber combat, which is pretty standard, just attacking people with your lightsaber combos. You have force powers, which there's your typical pushing, and you have your lightning attacks and stuff. But what kind of makes it interesting and also wonky at the same time is that it incorporates a physics engine, like the Havoc's physics engine, especially when it comes to using force powers. Now, in order to use the force, you can grab any objects and throw them at people. Sounds cool, right? Well, the problem is that targeting things that you want to grab the force pull isn't really that precise. It's kind of loose and trying to lock onto something, and to throw them, you have to tilt the direction of the object you grabbed, and then let go as it's moving towards something to throw it. Trust me, it doesn't work half the time. And the bosses are kind of a little haphazard, because it's like the controls aren't very good. Like, you can lock on, but at the same time you have to press one shoulder button to lock on it, and then another shoulder button to be able to evade. And sometimes the lock on won't stay on, especially against bosses, against other Jedi that Star Killer is sent to hunt down. And it becomes a really weird and the right trigger, I think, was to block. So imagine trying to wrestle between 3 shoulder buttons to try and effectively defend yourself against Jedi that just to spam attacks at you. It's really. But eventually you just beat him, and then you have your standard QTEs, because God of War. But the whole thing was very frustrating, because a lot of it just was really clunky. Nothing really felt complete, I guess you could say, because it was just, I don't know, when you hit stuff with your lightsaber, it's okay, I'm hitting them, but there's not really much feedback. They just kind of just stand there and take lightsaber hits, and some enemies can take 1,000,000 lightsaber hits. And then you just kind of resort to just falling back and grabbing stuff and just chucking enemies, which is funny at first, but then you realize, oh, that's just something they can just do to just cheese the enemies from really far away or something. And you can get upgrades to upgrade your health and force powers and stuff, but there isn't that. You don't feel like you're getting that much more powerful than the enemies you're fighting, and by the end they just throw a ton of shit at you, and then you get overwhelmed and die a lot of times.
I can vouch for a lot of this, because way back I did play Force Unleashed, and oh my god.
Yeah.
So have you mentioned that your game's crashed?
I'm getting there. I know I'm rambling on about this, the things that irked me just in the games in general, but this game was really buggy. Not only was it kind of frustrating to just deal with the kind of not fully fleshed out concepts, but it was also apparently not that well programmed either, because there were times when the game would just bug out. I mean, okay, there's 3 main glitches that happened that really broke the game for me. One time, I was just fighting enemies, doing the usual thing, and then all of a sudden, I stopped moving completely. I was just standing still completely, I couldn't move at all, not do anything. Eventually, they just shot me and attacked me, and I died.
Greatest Jedi in the...
Yeah, so just imagine Star Killer just standing there completely still, and then he dies. That's what happened. The next major glitch that happened was I was just playing the game, and then all of a sudden my PS3 just resetted. I think it was because I hit an explosive barrel or something, and then all of a sudden
the PS3 blew up.
Yeah, apparently
the actual power supply to the
it blew up all the cell processors, and then had my console had to reset apparently. So yeah, that was interesting. I never had a game that had my console reset like that, so that was an experience. Oh, and then the last major glitch that happened was it was around the last level. I just fell through the floor. Like I was just kind of just under it for a bit, just kind of wandering around, and then I was like, oh, well, what do I do? So I eventually just did like the attack where you like jump and then like throw your lightsaber down to attack somebody, and then I fell about 50 feet or so, and then Starkiller died, and then yeah, resetted from the checkpoint.
I want to interject with what happened years ago. This will be quick. With Force Unleashed, when I played it, I'm at the final boss. He's down to like no health, and then I hit the final blow and the game froze. That was the turning point to where I just said this was the worst fucking game I played all year. Because it denies me the fucking Emperor kill by freezing! Fuck you, LucasArts!
Well, spoiler alert, it's not like you actually kill the Emperor because this takes place...
It was either that or fight Vader. By the way, the endings don't fucking matter.
Well, one is
Only
like...
one of them is canon, and it is not the kill Darth Vader.
Oh yeah, there is a sequel to this game, which...
Can we not talk about that?
I might if I wanted to. They made a sequel on it.
I want to ask you, how was pulling down the Star Destroyer?
I know
fucking hated it!
Okay, whoa, calm down. I mean, sheesh.
So bad.
I opened a lot of old wounds apparently, but sheesh. You know, maybe the game with these things is like the way to like get people into the dark side. You know, it's like
I'm already there. Thanks for something.
But dumb analogy aside, the Star Destroyer bit didn't really give me that much of a problem. It's like, okay, yeah, I get why people got mad because you had to like keep redirecting the thing while TIE fighters kept attacking you.
The other problem, and I think it was this game, for some reason, the analog stick prompts aren't the best because they angled them instead of doing the
Okay, I will admit
thing.
the prompts were a little bit vague and like trying to tell you like, oh, you need to tilt it this way to tilt the Star Destroyer.
Prompts were not good.
The problem, I guess, most people had with that Star Destroyer bit was that you have to position it just right so you can like pull it down. Like the prompt for that where you position it towards you, I can imagine that would be very fickle. It did take me a few it did take me like a couple tries to get it right, but I didn't have that much of a problem with it, even though I know it's like one of the most infamous, like, oh god, fuck this part moments
like,
of that game.
I don't know if I died on that segment, but I just remember that it just seemed too long.
It did drag on a bit.
If it was slightly shorter, I probably would have been like, well, whatever, but god, it felt like 30 minutes. It wasn't 30 minutes, but it felt like it took 30 minutes to do without dying. It just...
But anyway, not to try and ramble on too much about this game, but I mean, there were some cool animations, and I thought some of the boss fights were interesting characters. The fights themselves were a little haphazard.
I do not remember a lot about the Force
and some of the locations I thought were okay, even though you revisit a few of them again in the later half of the game.
Didn't you get to go to Sky City? I don't know the name of the Sky City. Cloud City, whatever.
Yeah, you go to a Cloud City.
Yeah, okay. Wait, wasn't there a giant monster you fought, or was that Force Unleashed 2?
There's Rancors in the game.
That may have been it. Or maybe it was Force Unleashed 2.
I don't know. I haven't played that one yet.
I don't know if I played that one or the first one on my.
All I know about Force Unleashed 2 is that apparently the story is like really bad, and that the game is like really, and that it's really short, like not even half the length of like the first game. But yeah, to try and go back to like just sum it up quickly. I liked some of the ideas. I liked some of the animations, some of the finished animations. I liked the one where Starkiller slices an ATSD in half. That looked cool. That was one good use of the physics engine, I guess.
Oh yeah, that was actually.
So I can see where LucasArts was like trying to be, to bring this original character, Do Not Steal, into this Star Wars universe, But the story, it was kind of Mary Sue-ish, to be honest, in terms of like, hey, because the Star Killer, this episode 4 happened pretty much, and it's like, oh god, really? And you fight Darth Vader and the Emperor, but it's like, you know they're alive in like the movies, so it's not like you're gonna kill them unless you like.
I didn't find out what happened in the ending because my fucking game froze. I only know what happens if you fight Vader, and that's non-canon, so it doesn't count. Yeah, the cool ending doesn't count. Good job.
That's the evil ending, I assume, right?
I don't know. Just yeah.
The one that's not canon, quote unquote. Anyway,
the one that follows into Force Unleashed 2 is when you fight the Emperor. When you fight Vader, you basically become another Vader. I think that's what happened. Emperor, I don't know what the fuck happened.
You basically give into the dark side. But fortunately, it wasn't like the worst game I've played really, but it was kind of like, oh wow, this was kind of a mess. So I didn't give into the dark side, thankfully. But
it was not great. I wanted to forget about it.
Yeah, even though it sold millions of copies, it
was Star Wars.
It wasn't really really worth it. I'm glad I played it years later and just got it for really cheap, because if I'd played it back then, I would have probably just been about as upset as you were. But
this was like, I didn't even buy the game. Like, I played it at my old gaming center all the way through, and I was still mad. Like, this is cool. You have any other games?
No, those are the 2 games I just.
That's it.
Out. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go next. Well, I'm the only one that could go next if we're saving Scott for last. I technically played 4 games, but I'm gonna do process of elimination and just pick 3. So, staying on the topic of Star Wars, I'm currently renting Star Wars Battlefront, which is, for starters, gameplay-wise, far superior to Force Unleashed, even though they're nothing alike.
Well, yeah, they're kind of different games.
But I'm just saying, in terms of like bug testing, this one is much cleaner by far. I haven't had my game crash yet. From what I've been playing of it, it is fun, but I don't see myself renting it for that much longer, because I'm already running out of things to do, which is obviously the biggest problem with Battlefront. Like, you get like these 9 modes and not many maps. It's like 4 locations total with different map segments depending on what mode you're playing. Like, if you're doing stuff like Walker Assault, you get bigger maps. But if you're doing like smaller scale stuff like Team Deathmatch, then it's slightly different, Or Fighter Squadron, where you're just in the air the whole time. I still have yet to play as the Millennium Falcon or Slave One, because I have no idea how the fuck you're supposed to in that mode. And I don't even think it's possible to take them down because they have like 1 billion HP. Oh man, but like,
I was just gonna say, well, they're big ships that can take a million hits in the movies anyway, so it's like.
Well, why can't I just run right into them and blow them up? That's not yet. But like, I've been like having on and off fun with it, so like I say, if you're gonna try Battlefront, rental's a fine option, but like, yeah, DICE didn't put a lot of shit in it in terms of content. Yeah, everything else, like the audio-visual department, is fucking amazing, but I'm pretty sure that's where the entire budget went. The only problem I have with the audio is that the hero characters, their voice acting is the fucking worst.
Let me get.
Skywalker sounds terrible.
Did you say Luke Skywalker?
Yes.
Okay, I'm assuming you did that.
I'm calling him Luke Skywalker because you know why.
Okay.
Thank you.
But so it's continuing the tradition of just getting bad impersonations of the Star Wars characters.
Luke sounds nothing like Luke. Like, part of me thinks they just grabbed.
Believe me. Actually, going back to Force Unleashed, even though it's a little bit of a spoiler, but then again, this takes place between episodes 3 and 4, so it's not really that big of a surprise. But Leia is in the game, but she sounds nothing. The voice actress portraying her sounds nothing like Carrie Fisher, like at all. So I was like, oh yeah, continuing the tradition. I
think the only voice that sounds okay is Boba Fett, but then again, I think my
Boba Fett had like 2 lines in the entire movies. No, not including the prequels. When he was a shit kid. But
yeah, but I'm just saying, like, Vader, like, honestly, Luke is probably the worst one. It is so bad to just hear him talk. Like, what? They just probably got a developer to do the line. I mean, they clearly couldn't get the actors. I mean, Darth Vader is dead, but everyone else is busy with other things.
Even though Mark Hamill is a pretty prominent voice actor, but
for
some reason he doesn't do Luke in the Star Wars games.
Maybe because he can't sound like young Luke anymore, you know? That's probably the reason.
I don't know. I mean,
but
hell, I think the only voice actor they got that to reprise, at least that I know of, was the actor who played Wedge Antilles. He was in Rogue Squadron 2. He actually reprised the role in that. That's like the only original trilogy voice actor that I know of.
Didn't they advertise that on the back of the box or something?
Yes, it's like, hey, an actual Star Wars. It's like, hey, an actual Star Wars character voiced in this. It's like, oh, wow, someone who isn't an impersonator.
Yes, featuring the voice of Dennis Lawson, the original Wedge Antilles. It's right on the back of the box.
Exactly. That's the selling point.
That is so
but
good.
I guess it would be way too
costly,
expensive or something, or licensing or something to get the actual voice actors. Although, to be fair, in the Rogue Squadron games, I think they were the better impersonators as far as I recall. Luke, at least, in Rogue Squadron 1 and 2 sounded kind of like Luke. So probably a lot better than the one in Battlefront.
I would probably, my god. Mode-wise, I mean, like I said, there's only 9, but there's only a few that I like. Some are better than others, I'd say. I played them all, and I'm just like messing around still. Heroes vs. Villains is kind of like interesting, but it's better than Hero Hunt, where it's like hero versus everyone, and the only way to to become the hero is to kill them, which means cleanup crew happens all the time in this mode, so it's not good. It's not based on total damage, it's based on if you get the last shot, which is not good.
So Han shot last?
The Han YOLO, in that mode, I've only had the villain heroes to play as or show up. So when I played Heroes vs. Villains, I mean, I got to play as Luke and the others, but in Hero Hunt, it's always been Vader, Palpatine, and Boba Fett. Also, Boba Fett is crazy powerful.
Well, of course he is.
Because he's the only one that can actually fly around.
Well, yeah, because he has to be. Because it's yeah, he's the coolest character ever. That barely did anything in the actual movies, but he just looks cool. So yeah.
I don't want to dwell too much on Battlefront because there really isn't a lot of content to talk about, but
yeah.
From what I'm playing, it feels solid to play for what it is. It's not that deep in terms of learning curve and capability. Flying in the game is really easy, which apparently people don't like, but I'm okay with it. If you gave me Battlefield helicopter controls on a fucking X-Wing, then you got problems.
Yeah, where most people just crashed them instantly.
Oh yeah, like me. Or just the beginning of Spectre where the helicopter just fucking spins all the time in barrel rolls, and I'm sitting there in the movie going, that's me playing Battlefield. It's a little too accurate. But that's Star Wars.
So yeah,
I say don't buy it, but yeah.
But yeah, this is a no-brainer, but Battlefront 2, has a lot more to offer.
It does.
I mean, I have that on PlayStation 2, and it's yeah.
I played it years ago on Xbox. I mean, if I'll give the new Battlefront this, online is way smoother than the old Battlefront back on consoles.
You
laggiest thing ever.
Yeah, you can get Battlefront and Battlefront 2 on Steam for $10 each. So it's
But I don't think you can play online anymore.
Oh, because
the biggest caveat right there.
The GameSpy servers?
I could be wrong, but I think you can't play online anymore unless you have to do some big-ass workaround.
I don't know. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's unfortunate, but single-player-wise, get Battlefront 2. You're going to have a grand old time. There's a lot more to do. Because there really isn't a lot in Battlefront 3. I guess I'll talk about Castlevania. All right, I'll talk about Lords of Shadow next. I was debating on this or Rodea, but wasn't sure if SCR was going to talk about Rodea, so I'm going to pop in Castlevania. This game just wants to be the most conflicting thing ever. Like, on and off, it wants to try and be fun, but then it just immediately stops. I'm just sitting here trying to comprehend what is going on. I still don't know what's happening plot-wise outside of find the Lords of Shadow. I've been trying to pay attention, but oh man, it's really hard to like keep track of stuff.
Well, I did play through the game, and for what I recall, the Lords of Shadows are basically like evil versions of people that were left behind when they ascended, or something like that.
The Lords of Shadow are the gods of light. Well, the opposite, but you know. But like, I do not remember where I left off. I pretty much stopped playing once I got Xenoblade, which I'll get to. Well, I think I'm halfway through the game, maybe. Because sometimes chapters are like either super short or super duper.
If I recall, there's 12 chapters.
Yes, there is. Chapter 2 so far was the longest. And I don't know if I'm on chapter 6 or 7. Somewhere around there. I don't know. One thing I do not like about Lords of Shadow is how it constantly reminds me to do stuff that I have already learned. It just feels so patronizing, and it's actually getting on my nerves.
I forget if there isn't. I don't know if this game has it or not, but is there an option to like turn off hints or something like that? I don't remember if it.
Like,
if it does,
I don't know. I mean, if it does, I'm just keeping it on in case there is like a new thing they still have to introduce. But
right.
I'm talking about when they do show a thing that you've learned like 2 to 3 chapters ago, and it reminds you again.
Okay,
like,
I don't.
How could you forget how to mount?
I
know.
Okay, I don't recall that coming up as much as you say it had. At least it didn't bother me that much. And granted, a lot of modern games do that. Like, a lot of them. Whether or not you can even turn off the hints or not.
I know that, but for some reason this one felt really intrusive, especially since the hints are just plastered right in the center of the top screen. Like, it's right there. So it just feels a lot more intrusive for some reason. I'm so mixed on the combat. You have like all the upgrades and all that stuff to like expand it, but there's times where it feels alright and other times where it feels absolutely sluggish. And I don't think it's the frame rate, which is inconsistent. Like, depending
on consoles, it may stutter a bit here and there, but I believe the PC version doesn't have that issue. Or at least
I would assume so, unless the port was bad, but
I don't think it was bad. I mean, I played it on the 360, which I think is slightly worse than the PS3 version, but it didn't bother me that much as far as like.
I mean, like, honestly, frame rate dips have not been bothering me in the game, is the thing. I'm just saying, like, I'm seeing it, but it's not really affecting me.
Yeah. Okay.
I've just learned that guarding is pretty much the only way to win the game. Which, like, yeah, you could dodge roll, but I was always in this mentality that dodging's good, but you don't really have many invincibility frames, even if you time it right, you know?
Well, dodging is really more just get yourself positioned better.
Yeah. And for some reason, like, when you actually do dodge, it... how do I word this? It's not really directional as you would want it to be. It's really hard to explain. There have been times where I've accidentally dodged into the enemy when I wanted to just go to the side, and I'm just like, And I don't know if the fixed camera angle has anything to do with that, which is fine in some areas, but not great in others, but it hasn't been, like, super bad to the point where I can't see anything. There have been times, though, but, I mean, so far I haven't had many off-screen attacks, which is okay with me, because if there was, the game would be way worse. I do want to try and finish it, because, like, I don't know, and sometimes it feels like you taking damage is super inconsistent too, even if it's from the same enemy. Like, it could be the same attack. Sometimes it could just chip at you, or, like, take half your health. It's weird. But I will say this: the game is really good looking. Like it looks.
Oh yeah, I mean,
good.
I know people are mixed on the game as in the gameplay, but one thing I always say about the Lords of Shadow, even just in the series in general, is that the art direction is the best aspect of them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the frame rate kind of suffers because like on the consoles, but it looks good, and I gotta give it that. I haven't heard that much music in the game though. Most of it has been just kind of in the background, you know?
The soundtrack in Lords of Shadow is more of like a somber, more of an ominous, like orchestral type of soundtrack. Which, you know, if you're a fan of the more, you know, bombastic, you know, classic Castlevania tunes, it might be a slight like, you know.
Well, I think the biggest problem, I know this may sound like a cop out, but like my biggest problem is it, like overall so far, it doesn't scream Castlevania to me. Not like in terms of gameplay, but just a lot of things. This does not feel like it belongs with Castlevania. It's odd.
If I recall correctly, I don't think it was initially a Castlevania game when it was first developed.
Yeah, that's what I've always heard, and that's why, like, I don't know.
Well, the way I see it, it's just a different take on Castlevania.
Yeah, but like, it's funny because the last character action game kind of Castlevania game I played was Lament of Innocence, and that felt more Castlevania than this, even though that game's odd. I don't even remember, like I only played it for a few hours.
Well, that's the thing with like just the 3D Castlevanias in general, like especially like the N64 ones were kind of janky, but they
considering it was its first.
But I still played through them, and you know, but I still thought they were okay, even though there are some legitimate
like
problems.
I played 64, and like I haven't beaten it, like I haven't even gone back to it, but yeah. I haven't had too many problems when I was playing it. Maybe it gets worse, or maybe I won't mind it, but since it's an older game, I usually have that mentality of not really getting the motivation to go back and finish it, you know. But I do know what you mean.
Yeah, and with the PlayStation 2 ones, it's like the first one, Lament of Innocence, it's like, you know, people are like, oh, Lords of Shadow is just a God of War ripoff. Well, Lament of Innocence is a Devil May Cry ripoff.
It's pretty much Devil May Cry, yeah.
So and you know, Symphony of the Night is a Super Metroid ripoff. And you know, the Castlevania game's not exactly known for its originality in terms of its main game concepts, at least with some of them. But yeah, and then the second one, Curse of Darkness, it goes back to, it tries to be a 3D Metroidvania, but I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like a lot of the assets from Lament of Innocence were in it. From what
and I know some people may not disagree with me, but I personally think that Lords of Shadow is the best 3D Castlevania, at least in terms of like of its structure and what it's trying to be, in terms of just being like a 3D action game in the series.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I'd have to, like, I would probably want to sit down and attempt the other ones, like, in full, but that won't happen probably ever because I'd be too lazy to even do it. But the funny thing is, now that I think about it, we've got Lords of Shadow 1 that has fixed camera angles, and then Lords of Shadow 2 gives you free control. Lament and Curse of Darkness is kind of like that, where Lament is fixed and then Curse gets control. And that occurred to me, and I'm like, whoa. Oh, that's not good. Well, yeah. Well, that's funny, actually. That's all I want to say on Lords of Shadow, because I'm still not done with it. I don't know if I'm going to go back to it, because the third game, Xenoblade Chronicles X, has been stealing my time.
Well, I'll just say one more last thing about Lords of Shadow.
Sure.
I still enjoyed it way more than Force Unleashed.
Oh, 10 fucking fold. I'm not gonna disagree with you on that. I mean, I haven't had. Oh my god. I will say one last thing about Lords of Shadow before I do move on. The funniest thing about the game is when you mess up jumps and it just slow-mos. I just find it funny. Like, whoops. It's silly. At least it's not like instant death. But anyway, Xenoblade Chronicles X. I fucking love this game. I've been playing it for like a good full week. Granted, if I've had like the time, you know. I'm like 30 plus hours in, and it's just I'm happy with it so far, and I'm glad I'm happy with it because got the special edition. That was $100. Oh man, there's not much I can talk about plot-wise because, well, spoilers. I'm currently ahead of everyone that owns the game, like out of us, not in the entire world. Could you imagine? I have the first copy. Fuck you, Japan.
No, I imagine. No, people in Japan probably like already beaten like 5 times.
I'll beat it 10 times. I think like the changes to combat, like initially I was just like, oh, they removed chain attacks, but that hasn't bothered me because of how everything's handled now. Like there's a lot of elements from Chronicles that carried over to this, but there's enough that's different that does change it up while keeping the fundamental idea going on. The game is fucking gorgeous for Wii U. It's great. And I did have to like download like at least 2 of the data packs. Though I only took basic and the Skell one.
Oh, I didn't download any of the data packs.
Part of me wants to come. Oh, well, there's usually videos on like load time comparisons, but
The load time's not that bad.
yeah, like
Like without the packs.
Yeah, without the packs.
with the packs, like it's not super quick, but it's not long. Like it's serviceable and it's fine. Like I don't have to wait that long to like when I fast travel or load the game up. So I will say, since I am the farthest, I finally did unlock the Skells, and SCR can tell you about that because he saw it firsthand when I played with him.
Yeah, when you start piloting a Skell, which just think of it as a Gundam for simplicity's sake. For smaller monsters, instead of just attacking them regularly, you can step on them.
Yeah, we're talking about like small bugs, like the stuff like we fought in multiplayer. I could not step on; they're too big. But smaller stuff, yeah, I could just like air juggle them if I wanted to by walking in circles. I love it. But man, like the other thing is Skells are not easy mode. I mean, it may feel like it at points, but you really can't be that cocky with it because of how like eventually if you just keep blowing it up, you're gonna have to like start paying a huge fee to get it repaired, which I would not like to do. So even though I love my Skell, I am not trying to be cocky with it.
And that just goes back to the overlying theme of Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is resources are scarce. You're still on a new planet trying to figure out what all you can use and how you can use it, so you gotta be careful.
Without spoiling much, plot-wise, it didn't seem like much interesting plot stuff happened until I'd say chapter 4? I think chapter 4... SCR, how far did you get?
I'm currently on chapter 5.
Okay, so chapter 4 is when I think the game introduces a proper threat. And that's the point where I'm like, okay, maybe the story's starting to happen now.
Technically 3.
Technically. I can't remember. When did you meet L?
4.
Then I think it was chapter 4, because that's when I think that's when the game really set up bad guys for me.
There are bad guys in the third one, but they're
vague?
No, they're not vague. It's just that they're not the main bad guys. They're in conjunction with other bad guys.
But yeah, I have yet to start chapter 6 because I've just been messing with my Skell for 5 hours. And also doing side stuff. May as well. So part of me feels like it's going to be another slow burn, but I hope I don't pull a Xenoblade Chronicles and take 5 years to beat it. As in 3 years of not playing.
Still ahead of me. I've only played an hour of Xenoblade Chronicles, so.
Oh man. There's a lot of systems to take in. I do not want to go into detail because there's a lot to take in. You tell that to Zero because my god.
We're gonna have to explain so much.
Let's not go into that.
Or just look everything up.
But really, it is daunting, and I do recommend reading the manual. And quoted from Zero, fuck that. You're lost because the manual's helpful. I learned a few things.
Well, okay, if you're not gonna read, at least look maybe just look up, guides or something to figure all that shit out. Then, if you haven't.
Yeah, jeez. I mean, I've had to use guides for certain things, like, okay, no, because, like, there have been times where I had no idea how to reach a certain thing, and then I just feel like I'm stupid because I forget that I have the follow ball, which would pretty much tell me where to go. I just keep forgetting that's a thing, and I'm just like, oh, whoops. 30 plus hours in, and I keep forgetting about using that thing. My big problem, I don't want to say it's a big problem, but just, like, I'm happy that there's multiplayer in the game, but the method to get to play with others is kind of convoluted. Where you have to do these passive squad missions, like, okay, in multiplayer you can, like, be put into a squad of, like, I think up to 32 people. Like, you're all together, like, through the internet, but just not together, you know? Like, they're still in their own single-player stuff.
They're like communal tasks.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Whenever, like, at certain points in the bottom right, it'll give you one real-life hour to do 5 tasks, which can vary from gather these things, kill these monsters, or kill these tyrants. And completing them opens up squad missions you can actually do and play with other people. Granted, you won't find out what it gives you until you actually check. And sometimes, even if it has been completed, they haven't shown up for me. So it's odd. But when it does work and get to play with other people, it's nice. The lobby definitely reminds me of Monster Hunter, though. It's pretty much the same thing. Everyone get readies up at the door, to walk around the barracks, and all that stuff. And the music, the best.
Here we go.
The word I could describe the music is inconsistent. Because there's a lot of music in the game I really like, and then there's other ones that I just laugh at, but have gotten used to.
I've come to describe it as schizophrenic.
I think, yeah, that'll work too. I mean, a lot of the dumb ones I've gotten used to and just kind of ironically liked, but there's a lot of times where I generally like the song, so I'm just like, overall I'm okay with the soundtrack, but man, it is the most inconsistent thing ever. I will never like the new Los Angeles themes, though. Never. I will never like it. Don't even, please. Why? But I still attest the daytime theme is marginally worse. At least the nighttime theme is funny. Those are my games. Man. Alright, best for last. What you got for us?
Well, I was kind of on the fence of what to do. Because, well, you covered Xenoblade Chronicles X pretty well. Although I will say, word of warning, anyone who plays it, don't check character affinity.
Oh, right,
Don't do it.
Yeah, there's a problem going around that it'll lock your game if you check the character affinity chart. I've checked it before, but like only once, and it has not frozen on me, but it has frozen on SCR and other players, so...
I've checked the affinity chart 4 times and it froze on me 3 times.
So you want to be careful. So if you're going to check that chart for some reason, make sure you save your game first, because if you didn't save and then you checked it after like a good 2 hours of progress, say goodbye. Gone.
So there's that.
Yeah.
I was thinking about doing Rodea the Sky Soldier, but I want to play more of that before I say anything about it.
Oh, I wanted to talk about the version differences.
Yeah, Unreal's been playing the Wii U version, I've been playing the Wii version.
Like, I did play the Wii version a bit after, but he's not going to play the Wii U version, so someone has to. And that was me. It was the worst mistake I ever made.
I have enough on my plate.
Yeah, we got Xenoblade to play forever.
And then, another game that came out recently, Fast Racing Neo. I haven't played enough of the single player, but I will say I like the multiplayer. It works well.
Yeah, like, I just bought the game today because as of recording, it is my birthday, and I got gifted an eShop card, so I'm like, yeah Fast Racing Neo!
Yeah, actually all 3 of us here have gotten the game. I've got it too.
So we can try that later, maybe.
Yeah, I haven't tried the multiplayer yet, so...
Yeah, neither have I. The most I did was clear pretty much the entire Subsonic League, so I got to play all the tracks. I have a lot to say about the AI, and it's not good.
Oh, I think you're ahead of me then. Because I haven't done the last one in that league yet.
Yeah, I just wanted to power through at least one of the leagues.
So there were those games, but ultimately I have just one game that I could talk about somewhat at length, and even though I haven't finished it, I've played enough of it that I feel like I have a relatively informed opinion on it. And that's Devil's Third.
Oh, here we go.
Now, if I remember correctly, once upon a time I said on this podcast that Resident Evil 6, my enjoyment out of 100 was a 12.
It hurts, don't you think?
I completely forgot you graded it like that.
Well, if I had to use that system for my enjoyment of Devil's Third, take the Resident Evil 6 score and multiply it by 5. That's about where I am.
Oh my god. Wait, hold on. So you said 12 out of 100.
It's like 60.
Yeah, 60.
Ah, okay, good.
Great for math.
I mentioned this before, but I was live tweeting as I was playing through the first few parts of Devil's Third. The single player, at least. And, I was kind of playing through it, and then I was on, like, chapter 3 or 4, and I was thinking, okay, I know that the visuals got criticized heavily, because there is frame drop throughout the game. Although, it usually doesn't happen in combat, so I was okay with it. Like, it sometimes happens in cutscenes, and it usually happens when you're in, like, a transitional area. The worst incident I had of it was this one time I was going through a burning church, and when I say burning, I mean, like, 40% of it was on fire, and the frame rate tanked.
Oh, gee. Like, were you looking at the flames?
The flame was on screen, I wasn't looking at it, but the frame rate dropped to, like, 10.
Oh, god.
But like I said, it wasn't in the middle of combat or anything, so whatever. The gunplay I thought was okay. It has, like, aim assist, but you can turn that off.
I've been hearing that the actual aiming with the right analog stick, when you actually move it, doesn't feel that great. Like, something's off about it with the whole dead zones and stuff. How does it feel according to you?
I thought it felt fine.
Like, it didn't feel like it would, like... how do I, like... I don't want to say... I'm trying to think of the word. Like, jitter or jolt? Like, when you actually move it, and it doesn't feel like it's...
It only did that when I had aim assist on. I turned it off, and then it was fine.
Well, keep in mind, I'm... my copy of Devil's Third is arriving in a couple of days. So
yeah.
I'd have to feel
Stay
it
tuned for the next podcast when Unreal says the exact opposite of every good thing I'm saying here.
Dude, I don't even know. Like, if I agree with you, then... Because, like, I don't know. For some reason, I thought you would have been in the camp, like, you wanted to play this game, and I've been, like, so, like, confused by it, is the best term. So, I still have to wait. I could have gotten it earlier, but I freaked out because of the... Oh, God, should we even mention how much got stocked? Or did we already do that? Apparently, Devil's Third had an extremely low stock when it launched. Like, around the US at the GameStops. Like, according to, like, the Destructoid reporter that, like, asked about it. It's just, across all the US, 420 copies were sent into the GameStops all across. And when it came out, there was, like, no stock. I called, like, my closest stores, and it's like, no, we don't got any. And if they did get any, it was pretty much on hold for pre-orders.
And yet, for some reason,
when I went one.
Yet, for some reason, when I went to GameStop.com for the upcoming releases section of this, I went to the Wii U section, it defaults to best-selling descending, and at the top of the list for best-selling was Devil's Third for some reason. I don't know, GameStop's site is weird sometimes.
And like, and I kind of freaked out because of low stock, thinking that my store was not going to get any more copies or anything, or like, it'd still be really low. So I went and ordered it online from GameStop online. And then the next day, my store did get copies, like, probably, like, I didn't even ask how many they had. It was probably like 2. But
man,
but by that time I had already placed the online order, so, and I couldn't cancel it, so I have to wait longer to play it. But I didn't pay any extra money than I would have if I had gone to the store, so it's not that big of a loss. Now, anyways, continue talking about Devil's Third.
I just wanted to say, man, people thought like the first print of Fire Emblem Awakening was a
you
small...
know what first print thing was like impossible
or was limited.
Xenoblade. Like
oh
the
yeah,
original...
that too.
I mean,
Yeah.
I saw more copies of Last Story in Pandora's Tower around used than I did ever Xenoblade for, reasonable prices. Well, I got all 3 of those games at once. So
Well, GameStop
The
also
Last
did a
Story
thing where they
was-
held back copies, and then they're like, here's a bunch of used copies.
I'm still happy with my first print Last Story one with the extra stuff. It's a shame that Pandora's Tower didn't get anything like that, but what can you do? And that's like the only Operation Rainfall game I have not beaten. So I
And
have,
where
like,
were we? Oh, right, Devil's Third.
Yeah. Anyways, how's Itagaki's bullshit?
Which bullshit are we talking about?
The one where he is a repeated sex offender, or the one that he looks like an oatmeal guy? I don't know. But where did we leave off? You were talking about the aiming.
Yeah, I thought the aiming was fine once I turned aim assist off.
Is there anything in particular you want to talk about, like bosses, like Black Guy, or?
For those of you who don't know what he's talking about, go to my Daily Motion page and just look at the top image.
That's your Daily Motion?
Yes!
Oh no, I did not know that. Oh no. Now I gotta go see that.
You know, instead we'll just talk about things that I did have problems with in this game. Number one, the game uses a form of auto cover, which can be a little disruptive at times. Like, you'll just walk up to something and he'll automatically put his back to it. That can kind of get you in trouble, because sometimes he'll go into cover, but then if you don't position yourself right, he'll lean out of cover while he's still in cover. And that can just get you shot a bunch of times. That's easily fixable, though. You just, like, snap back a little bit and then you're fine. I've seen people complain about controls. Honestly, I didn't have any issues with the controls.
Are you on the gamepad?
I'm using the Wii U gamepad, yeah.
Okay, suck it, Itagaki. Oh,
Like,
difficulty.
Running around is fine, like running and sliding into cover was fine, melee combat was fine, switching from melee combat to gunplay was fine. I saw people complaining about too much of delay. I think they're just impatient assholes.
What difficulty are you playing on?
The default difficulty.
Alright, suck it, Itagaki. That's two strikes right there against him.
Actually, there's something I gotta bring up as a criticism that I saw from one review, which said Ivan, who is the main character, the dude covered in tattoos, acts like this badass character, but he's incredibly weak. I don't know if it's that Ivan's weak or that the weapons are actually effective.
Yeah, like the whole health system seems like odd. Like it's regenerating health, but it just like goes down quick, but also goes back quick. Sometimes.
It really depends on the kind of enemies you're going against. Like, if there are a bunch of enemies shooting you with automatic rifles and you're not behind cover, yeah, you're probably going to lose health really quick. But if you're in melee combat with someone, unless they're using strong attacks, your health isn't going to go down very quick. And there, you do kind of have to play cat and mouse at times, where you like get some attacks in, and if you get hit too many times or you hit with too strong of attacks, you like run away for a little bit, let your health regenerate, and then go back in.
So, a modern third-person shooter type of thing, you know, kinda.
Kind of. Although there's also this like, I forget the name of it. I can never remember. There's like this power-up thing you can get from using melee attacks on your enemies.
Yeah, the M'Baku.
Yeah, the M'Baku, and that certainly helps. Especially because there are times
from
in the
what
game.
I've seen, like you can instantly regain health once you use it, so it's like a little get out of jail free card temporarily. It also helps.
Yeah, and there are a number of parts in the game where you're going to be using pretty much exclusively melee attacks. Like, you'll go into a warehouse and get jumped by 6 guys with swords.
Anything else you want to talk about single player wise? Like, I don't know, outside of Black Guy, I don't know how many bosses you fought. I mean, I don't count
you fight
Molotov
a
as a boss because that's hilarious.
You fight a boss at the end of every mission, and I'm on mission 6, so I fought 5 of them so far.
What was the last boss you fought? I'm trying to think.
The last boss I fought was Jane Doe.
Okay, alright, so I've seen that, so alright.
I was alright with that boss fight. The one before that was Guinea Pig, which you really got to be careful on because it has a one-hit kill attack.
Oh, great. Those are the best.
He telegraphs the fuck out of it, so I didn't care.
Oh, that's good then. I mean, if he has a huge telegraph for that, that's fine. But like, usually I have like problems with one-hit kills if it's just like out of nowhere, you know?
Oh, I'm getting more into the story at this point, but one thing I liked is that, and I'm going back to Resident Evil 6 for this one, the guys that follow you around don't last very long in that game. Not just Resident Evil 6, that bothers me across multiple games, is when people are there just to die.
Well, how about that one guy that gave you the fucking minigun?
But in Devil's Third, around the second mission is when you get grouped up with this like team of army guys. And I'm on mission 6 now, and only one of them has died. And he only died in mission 5, so it was really recent.
Yeah, I think I know which guy, but even then I forgot. How do you like the bats?
The bats are actually the strongest enemy in the game.
I don't understand what the point is with them.
That's one thing I didn't like either. It's like, why the fuck are the bats able to just lay waste to Ivan?
So, okay, are you, like, near the volcano, or have you already done that? Because, like, I am watching an LP of it right now, and, because there's this, like, oh, man, it does involve bats, and the thing is, the guys, like, were thinking, like, oh, are there gonna be bats here? I don't know. Then they kept going, and then eventually bats actually came through the fucking thing, and they just lost their shit. It's like, why the fuck are there bats? Do they carry a virus? Is that a plot thing?
That is a plot thing.
The bats are really a plot thing?
No, the bats aren't a plot thing. The virus is a plot thing.
Okay, but why the fuck are there so many bats?
I don't know. The first thing I died to in this game was bats.
Okay,
and because of the way I was moving, I was moving when I got killed by the bats, Ivan somersaulted forward and then clipped through a wall.
Maybe it's just the bats from like Castlevania Lords of Shadow 2. They just went over to that game.
But like, fuck it. Okay, because like Matt and Liam, since they're doing Devil's Third, they were wondering if the bats could actually kill you or just keep you at 1 HP. But you answered the question. Yeah, the bats can fucking kill you.
Oh, they can, and they will.
I can't wait for the game to do a late plot revelation that the bats are actually plot relevant. If that happens, I'm just gonna fucking lose it.
The bats can end up like the rats in Resident Evil 2 that help spread the whole thing around town.
Yeah, that's exactly. But like,
I'm not entirely joking with that.
And for some reason, they don't really seem like bats. They seem just like swarms of locusts instead. I mean, that's how effective they are.
Pretty much.
Jeez, return the slab, Ivan. It's up for your curse.
I will say the game does pace it pretty well so that you're not just fighting the same enemies over and over. Like, the first couple missions, you're fighting, like, the standard terrorist kind of guys who will, like, duck and cover and then shoot at you, or pull out knives and shit and attack you. And then you get to the not T-Virus mini-Hulk people, who are, like, all melee and just pure brute strength, and you gotta be really careful about how you approach them. Because they can take a lot of bullets.
Yeah, I think I know what ones you're talking about. And that's the one before, and that's around the same time you meet Giant Meat Man boss with instant kill.
Guinea Pig?
Yeah, I think that's...
I actually like Ivan.
You like his
I didn't
Yuri
think
voice.
I would.
You like his Ivan voice.
And there's a weird dichotomy too, because the game mostly takes place on this place called Brat Island, which is a joint territory that's co-owned by Russia, the United States, and Japan. And he's a Russian dude working for the US who's covered in Japanese tattoos, which is this old reference to a Japanese folktale. But I won't get into that. And the multiplayer, since I haven't mentioned it yet, I've had no issues with it. The only issue was when the game came out, shortly after the game released, the servers went down. And for the longest time, the high score on Battle Royale was this one guy who had 1 kill. But now everything's fixed, and as time goes on, they're adding new multiplayer modes. Like right now there's Battle Royale, Team Deathmatch, and this one mode where you gotta claim cargo that drops on the map. Actually, Unreal, by the time you get it, there's going to be 2 new modes. One of them's Chicken, and the other one I can't remember the name of. Texas something.
I'll say no.
But that was actually the main reason I got the game, was because of the multiplayer, and I'm okay with it. You create your own custom player with relatively limited customization options, but you get to buy like tops and pants and weapons and like,
a lot of that seems
cosmetic
like that's
shit.
in place for that. A lot of that seems like it's in place for the microtransaction stuff, which is a thing.
That is the microtransaction shit, but I haven't paid any microtransactions, and I've still been like leveling up and earning in-game currency, and I just recently used it to buy new shit for my character.
Do you think that's gonna change when the PC multiplayer thing comes out?
Probably.
Yeah, it's probably gonna inflate the shit out of it and make it worse.
There's a PC multiplayer?
There's gonna be! Yeah, they're planning to release the multiplayer component of Devil's Third on its own as a free-to-play online shooter for PC.
Huh.
Yep.
And
Okay.
And it's important to get all the different like costume pieces too, because they have stats assigned to them that help you perform better in the multiplayer matches.
Wait, those are ones you can actually pay real money for?
You can use in-game money on that too.
Yeah, but the fact that you can pay in-game money on stuff that does change stats, that's the worst.
Yeah.
If it was just purely cosmetic, I'd be like, whatever, but the fact that you can, it sounds really pay to win. That's not great, but, how, did you play all the modes or just select few?
That's part of the problem, is everyone is playing Battle Royale.
Battle Royale.
I tried getting a cargo match going, and you have to have at least, I think, 4 or 6 people to be able to do that, and it wasn't happening. I tried Team Deathmatch, and I also couldn't get that to happen either. People are just playing Battle Royale for now, and it's kind of pissing me off.
Well, then again, I think that also ties in with the fact that there hasn't been many copies out in the wild, so if people do buy it, there's not going to be a relatively,
There's also the problem that the online multiplayer, you can't play across regions.
Yeah, I was just about to bring that up. It doesn't help that you can't play with Europeans. And, well, obviously you can't play with Japanese, but like... But yeah, is there anything else, or are we good on that? Yeah.
I feel like there's something I was missing to talk about.
Is there wall running?
No.
Then I guess they took that out for good. Damn. Apparently that was a thing that was in Devil's Third before, but...
Well, when you have the development history of a game like Devil's Third, it's not surprising that shit changes.
Yeah. Oh well. But, If you think that's it, I do have one last thing to ask.
Oh, I do have one little thing I can mention. You collect war trophies across each mission, and the whole idea is you go back and look at them and they offer like extra backstory about what's going on. Come to think of it, have I explained what's going on?
Virus, bats,
Okay, what's actually happening is the game starts off with the Kessler syndrome, which is basically a satellite goes out or like gets knocked out by space debris, and it causes a domino effect that causes a bunch of other satellites in low orbit to go out. So that's like the go-to message for this one group, radical group that starts doing hostile takeovers of different territories. And the US recruits Ivan, who used to be a member of this like special team. Think like a weird Japanese foxhound, and you'll kind of have an idea of what his gang was. So they recruit him. He was busy like 100 feet under Guantanamo Bay prison playing drums at the time. I'm not kidding. So he gets recruited by the US, and he joins them specifically so that he can get back at the old team members, because they killed one other team member called C4, which he basically looked at as a daughter figure. And then, I don't know if I should keep talking about this, because it's going to spoil things.
I'd say we hold it off. I mean, there's probably people out there that's like, who cares about the level 3rd, but like you never know. I'm still like, since I'm watching like LP, I might be like, who knows? Maybe by the time I get it, I won't be spoiled on everything, but because at the time I didn't even know if I was gonna buy the game, but now it's too late. I bought it, so oh well.
Well, your old squad members are behind the radical group, so now your missions are largely going after them and taking them down one by one.
And then like you got that C4 girl, right?
C4, yeah. And apparently, well, this really isn't a spoiler because it's introduced so early in the game, but she's actually not dead. And
well, yeah.
Her genetics are being used by the group to not just form a virus, but the antidote for the virus, which allows a person to, like, adapt and take the benefits of the virus without the whole becoming a monster thing. And Ivan doesn't like that. Oh, one more positive I'll get about the game before I stop talking about it and we finally move on to something else. I actually like how Ivan just does not give a shit while all hell is breaking loose around him. If he just stands still, it doesn't even take long for him to do this. He'll just put away his weapon, whip out a flask, and start drinking.
Or if he's behind cover,
or if he's behind cover,
a cigarette and light it.
He'll take out the cigarette and light it, and the cigarette stays in his mouth for a really fucking long time. It doesn't just disappear instantly when you start doing shit, it stays there. Weird attention to detail considering some of the other things that were going on graphically.
Yeah, you can tell where the budget went. But,
The long story short, I actually do enjoy Devil's Third. I didn't think I would.
Next podcast, I'll let you know how I feel. I don't know.
Okay, I've been trying to listen to all this, and I still don't really know what Double Third is, really. So
I think that's the idea.
I'm pretty sure that's just what everybody's like initial thoughts are of the game. It's like I don't even know what to make of this. Like, yeah.
Now.
Well, I know what to get you for Christmas.
Now the last thing for oh my god. Well, yeah, if you can find a copy in Canada, it makes me wonder.
Somehow give it to me here.
So I know you graded it a 60, but if single player and multiplayer, what would your separate out of 100 scores be? Like, let's just base it on enjoyment level, I guess.
On enjoyment level?
Because we're not doing a full game review. Not yet, at least.
Could be a Black Sheep game review.
Oh, what if we get to video updates?
Oh, I was just throwing that out there.
I'll say for the single player campaign, I'm like a 65.
Huh.
For the multiplayer, mostly because of the microtransaction stuff, I'd say 55. If you didn't have the microtransactions, I'd be closer to like 70, 75.
Alright. Then you average it down to 60 overall, I guess. Man. This may have been the longest recently played section we've had in fucking years.
If 60 seems low, I will just say I've been playing Devil's Third for, according to my Wii U stats, 8 hours now, and I'm not tired of it, and I'm not pissed off at it.
That's good. Did you at least laugh a couple of times?
Oh, there are some, like, funny moments in Devil's Third, unintentionally or intentionally.
Those are the best.
I think my favorite one so far that I think was intentional was Ivan is just chilling behind cover drinking, and then all of a sudden the sniper just shoots the flask out of his hand.
Okay, I think we're good on Devil's Third for this podcast.
Oh yeah, black guy boss fight I really like. It's challenging as hell though.
Because it seems like it's the first real boss fight compared to the other ones that the game threw at you prior.
You know, I tried doing the just shoot him immediately trick. Didn't work for me. I don't know why.
Doesn't he just like... I thought he had like different steps that he jumps down to. Like,
yeah, but
segment of how he goes
the
down.
thing you don't really see in that video is that there are 4 other convicts around there that are also shooting at you.
Which you can pretty much get rid of easily, and then it's just him. So even with that, it is still laughably easy. Who knows? And then there was the second boss that had like 2 forms. In the first one, you could technically just like Once you clear everything, you could shoot him to death, but then you have to switch it up when...
I tried doing the thing where I just, like, got behind cover and just shot him until he died, but he killed me first.
Yeah, didn't he rush toward... Wouldn't he have rushed towards you?
Wait, are we still talking about the same boss?
Yeah, like... No, like, this is, like...
Convict boss.
Convict... You mean, like, the first one?
Yeah.
Oh, no, I moved on to, like, the second boss, Cowboy Man.
Oh, Big Mouse.
Yeah, Big Mouse.
Yeah, that boss fight starts
his first
and...
phase, you could just wreck him with just guns. Like, really quickly, and then he injects himself with the T-virus and becomes fucking Senator Armstrong.
Pretty much.
Okay, alright, enough of Ivan or James Bond or Devil's Third.
Summary, I actually like it. I didn't think I would.
Alright,
let's get to the discussion topic finally. How long have I been I talked that long about that game?
Let's see who talked the longest this time around in this one.
Well, we'd have to go back and compare. I mean, it probably may have been slightly longer than the Force Unleashed talk. Who knows?
Okay, anyway, discussion topic. This is going to be kind of a joint one, because we're going over two major events that happened near the beginning of December. Well, quote-unquote major. One is the Game Awards, and the other is the PlayStation Experience. And I'm actually going to go backwards on this and do PlayStation Experience first. Now, I'm just going to gloss over the games that they introduced, and when you guys feel like jumping in, go ahead. And away we go. One thing that I immediately remember about this is that Bandai Namco had two particular games that they showed off. One was Ace Combat 7.
Another Ace Combat, okay.
Yeah, and they also announced a second Ni no Kuni game.
Oh yeah, that. Still need to actually play Ni no Kuni.
Yeah, I started Ni no Kuni, got like 4 hours in, and then I've been meaning to get back to it ever since.
Like most of my RPGs.
Hey, better than me that bought it when it came out and never put it in the PlayStation 3.
You still got time to play it sometime.
No, I don't! I got Xenoblade. Continue, though.
Meanwhile, Capcom had more Street Fighter news about Street Fighter V, in particular the new character that they introduced, whose name I already forgot. Yeah, we're not very big Street Fighter fans, at least the three people that are in this podcast.
Well, I've only played...
I'm not...
Yeah, I've only played like a little bit of like Street Fighter 2, like Turbo on Super Nintendo. That's about it, really.
Yeah, like, the most I played was like... I was able to like try out the Genesis version of like Street Fighter 2 Championship.
Oh, I actually have that too.
Like, I tried it out, like, before, like, this thing, like, oh, if you want it, like, you can, like, purchase it and stuff, but played it, I'm just like, oh, whatever, I don't exactly want it. That's, like, the most Street Fighter I've done.
I do have, I think, Ultra Street Fighter 4 on my Steam because it was, like, one of many leftovers from Angel Halo because he keeps getting humble bundles.
Because of all the humble bundles, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I haven't installed it or played that yet, though.
Let's see, moving on. Double Fine was there. There's something I won't talk about until the Game Awards section, but they did announce they're doing re-releases, or was it remasters? For Day of the Tentacle and Full Throttle. I think they already announced the Day of the Tentacle thing before.
Yeah, they did announce Day of the Tentacle before, but Full Throttle is the new one that's being remastered. Which, cool. I made me want to play that game, or at least try it out, so...
Koei Tecmo showed a new title called Neo. I think I am pronouncing that correctly. Yeah, we don't really know much about it yet.
Yeah, well, what is it even?
It was that really dark, like, feudal Japan-looking game. I honestly can't say any more about that. No Goblin was there, the people who made Roundabout, and they announced 100-foot robot golf.
Yep, that's one thing I do remember being announced. Like, I actually had to miss a lot of PlayStation Experience because of, like, a couple of things, so, like, I wasn't really sure what was announced outside of Ni no Kuni and a couple of things, but this is one thing I did hear about.
It's going to be a PlayStation VR game from the looks of it.
And I think it might be exclusive, which, in one way, makes me sad, because Like, I would have liked to play it in some other form, but that would require me getting the VR headset.
Well, there is one VR game that, from the looks of it, you will be able to play without VR, which is Sega is re-releasing Rez.
Yeah, that was the other thing I heard about. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
they're doing another fucking Rez game? But is it a new Rez, or is it just a re-release?
I think it's just a re-release.
Even then, that's still pretty
So
crazy.
Res HD.
Rez VR HD. HDP VR. High definition playing VR. Virtual reality. Fuck yeah.
Yeah, it doubles
What
as
do you mean we
recording.
can't use that acronym?
And it doubles as recording your game footage too.
Something. Sega also had two other things to announce, which was Yakuza 5 is now available in the North America region,
Wait,
and
now?
Yakuza
Yeah.
0 is going to be available worldwide too.
I knew when they said that, when they announced the Yakuza 5 stuff, it's like, oh, it'll be out next week. But I guess that week is now.
Yeah,
That
it
week
just
was a
came-
week ago.
Yeah, it came out recently.
Ah. So we buy Devil's Third instead of Yakuza 5. Oh,
Priorities?
maybe. I just know Pat's already fucking buying it.
Anyway, moving on, Sony Computer Entertainment had a few titles they showed off. The most prominent ones being Uncharted 4: A Thief's End and the PS4 Ratchet & Clank game. And then they also showed something called Zombie Taxi Game, which... What?
I assume it was different?
I don't remember hearing about this.
Yeah, you're basically playing a taxi driver in a world that's completely run by zombies. And they all have their own civilization similar to ours, and goofy
So they're
shit
not
happens.
from a
and
distant planet?
I don't know what to make of that.
I don't know either.
I mean, it didn't leave as bad an impression as that Minions game from E3.
Oh, fuck off! I forgot about that.
Nothing from
Most
the
of us prefer
PlayStation
to
experience
forget.
was that bad, but Zombie Taxi just kind of left me going what? It just kind of felt like filler until something else happened. And the
God,
last
I
one I'll
already know what
mention,
would have been like that at the Game Awards, which we'll get to, but
last one I'll mention, Square Enix, they had two titles they showed. One was Hitman Go, and the other was the Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Wait, why did they show Hitman Go?
I don't know.
That's been out. Unless you're mixing it up with the actual new Hitman.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure a new Hitman has been
'Cause
announced.
the new Hitman's just called Hitman. But if they showed Go, I'd be like, what?
The notes
Hey.
I'm reading off of might be wrong.
Maybe.
Or they just misspoke or something, but FF7 Remake was shown. And then people got pissed off again at it.
Well, yeah, apparently it's not a turn-based RPG system like in the original. It's more of a action RPG type of thing.
Yeah, I saw the trailer and like Cloud and Smash, I'm indifferent because I'm not sure if it'll be a good thing. I know people still want turn-based RPG stuff, and that's fine. But we don't know if it'll be handled with justice like this or not. Is the thing. But I think the bigger thing that people are pissed off at outside of this is the fact that it was announced that it's going to be episodic.
I have a couple of people I'm friends with on Facebook who got legit angry but mad that it wasn't turn-based.
I can't remember, but I think...
Let's back up a moment. Do you know why the turn-based combat thing, or what it evolved from?
Xenoblade. Oh.
It evolved from tabletop gaming. Because if you tried doing real-time in tabletop, everyone would be shouting over each other, nothing would get accomplished. That's why turn-based happened, and that's where it originated from.
I could just imagine that, just release D&D's Xenoblade where it's not turn-based at all and everyone's just shouting over each other. I would play that, but not...
Trash talk, well down!
Well down! Alright, I'm feeling it.
I'm a beat!
backslash.
Okay, but just going back to the whole, like, I think it's just that Square Enix just wanted to do something different, something new with, I guess, the Final Fantasy formula, or Final Fantasy VII formula, I should say. I mean, granted, most people would probably just have preferred that, you know, it's like, well, why don't you just make Final Fantasy VII and just have it with better graphics? That's pretty much all we've ever wanted, but at the same time, that just comes across as just kind of a little bit lazy, where it's like, all this is just a reskin, pretty much.
I mean,
even though it would be a highly detailed reskin, considering considering like the original was like really polygonal, and it definitely shows its age, at least visually.
I have a quick question. Was Crisis Core well received? You know, the PSP game?
Yeah, it was.
Wasn't that more action RPG?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was kind of like a prequel, I believe.
Yeah, and I think that's what it's like. Somehow it kind of reminded me of that. Not like entirely. I haven't played Crisis Core, but I decided to look
at the very least, it was the better of like the whole slew of like Final Fantasy VII spin-offs that kind of came out. Like, especially like
the other one was Cerberus. A movie. Oh god, and then there was of course the movie, the FF7 one.
Yeah, having children.
Yeah, just ignore Dirge.
I ignore everything FF7.
Wow, I just realized I'm probably.
I know you were talking about. Sorry.
I just realized I'm probably like the most familiar with Final Fantasy VII, and I've only played a little bit of the original game.
It's not a franchise I've entirely grown up with.
I played through most of the original game, but that was it.
I didn't grow up with Final Fantasy either. But I did start collecting and playing some of them later. Although, granted, I actually haven't finished any of them. In fact, as shame as I am to admit this, the only Final Fantasy I've actually finished, Mystic Quest, because the review.
Mystic Quest is the only game I own a copy of, unless you count Crystal Chronicles.
Well, isn't Mystic Quest also like one of the easiest?
And also one of the worst.
Yeah.
In a manner of speaking, but Crystal Chronicles and Mystic Quest are the only copies I own. I mean, I could buy a physical copy of like 7, 8, or even 9, like for not that expensive, but I just don't feel like it. It's just like
And that's another thing. Like, even if like you wanted to like get a better looking version of like the traditional Final Fantasy VII, it's still rarely available if you just want to play it just for that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then if you
like the FF7 remake, not remake, but remastered before the remake.
But yeah, I just think that this whole like Final Fantasy VII remake thing is just it's more of I guess it's aiming more to be more of like a reimagining than just a remake, really, if you think about it.
Now this begs the question how the Resident Evil 2 remake's gonna like be handled.
Yeah,
like,
if it's going to be just a straight up remake, or if it's going to be like a bit more like, I guess like the Revelations games maybe.
Yeah, like in terms of like gameplay, or it could be like how GameCube remake was handled, and they actually just redo all the graphics but retain the thing, but at the same time change a couple of things.
Yeah,
like how they threw in Lisa Trevor, the math puzzle.
Yes, but the question is, what would they change? They'd probably find a way to keep the double scenario thing in, unless they change that. Who knows? I mean, we don't know anything outside of full-blown remake. We do it. So it's going to be a while till we find out.
Well, as for PlayStation Experience, we did it. So now let's move on to the Game Awards.
Now none of you guys watched the last year one, right? Did you watch the 2014 one?
I didn't, although I heard it was a lot better than the 2013.
It was better than the fucking one that doesn't exist.
Yeah, the one from 2 years ago where I was the only one that watched, and you know, and if you remember
I was going for it.
And if you remember that podcast episode where I rambled on for like 2 hours about how bad it was.
I need to go back and watch that, because was I even in the podcast for that?
I don't remember.
I think it was me, SCR, Angel Halo and Shadow.
I must have not been able to do
Anyway, these Game Awards.
Game Awards. Oh god. I'm trying to remember what exactly happened outside of the clear highlights.
These probably aren't going to be in order, but one thing I will note is that they didn't present all of the awards on the show, at least not in the traditional sense. At random times, Jeff Keighley, who was hosting, would just mention, "Oh, by the way, congratulations to this group for winning this award," and that was it.
Or like during an interview, it's like, "Oh, by the way, you guys also won the award."
That has been a problem ever since. That has been a problem like for quite a while. Like that has always happened in like the recent years of this, where it's like, "Oh yeah, this one," or you have to like look, or you have to go look up to see what one, because half of them they didn't really show.
Well, one thing I can tell you is that the show started off with, it was either best shooter or best multiplayer. I think.
Oh, you mean you don't remember it starting off with Shaquille O'Neal?
It did not start with Shaquille O'Neal.
It didn't?
No.
No, that was like that was a little bit after.
I remember it was because
that was one of the earliest ones.
I think it was best shooter that they started off with on the broadcast. And Jeff Keighley was the one who was reading off the winner of the award. The nominees were Star Wars Battlefront, Halo 5 Guardians, Destiny the Taken King, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, and Splatoon. And Jeff Keighley had to announce to the world the winner for Best Shooter at the Game Awards 2015 is Splatoon. And then handed over the award to Reggie, who was there.
Reggie being the first guy to walk up. Oh man, just look at him.
Well, it's good that that original game like Splatoon, and a new IP no less,
and I guess we'll just go into this. Yeah, that one best shooter, but one thing that I don't think was even announced at the show, like you said, the problem is like they hand off awards to the side without anything. I don't even think they even mentioned best multiplayer.
Which was also Splatoon.
Exactly. That one, Splatoon, I think, I'm trying to remember, were those the only two categories Splatoon was nominated for?
No, it was also nominated for Best Family Game, but Mario Maker won that.
Okay, yeah, I was about to say, Splatoon won every category it was nominated in, but then it was in Family Game. Like, no, that was Mario Maker. But I don't think they mentioned multiplayer game on the show, like, not like on stage or even off to the side. I had to find out later on Twitter from like this Nintendo thing I follow. I was like, oh, by the way, we found out best multiplayer went to Splatoon.
Exactly. That's still like one of the main problems like this award show still has.
It is the biggest problem with like, well, I mean, yeah, there's still problems with this, but like in terms of handing out awards, that is a huge problem. And it was one of the problems I noticed last year. I don't remember anything prior years or how it was handled, but it came to light to me last year where it's like, why the fuck are they just doing that? And they didn't change that, which sucks.
So then they do some like backroom shit here and there with some of the devs, and then Shaquille O'Neal walks out on stage.
We already knew what was gonna happen because like Shaq himself was like teasing this before.
Well, not only that, there was an Indiegogo a long time ago for Shaq Fu: A Legend Reborn.
Yeah.
And then they showed some footage.
Oh boy. Shaq doesn't know what a fighting game is.
There's fighting in it, but it's not a fighting game.
But it's a beat 'em up.
Exactly, and even from like the slow ass stream that I saw, it immediately reminded me of the Xbox Live Arcade Double Dragon 2 remake, which is really bad.
Yeah.
Just the way it was like a 3D kind of beat 'em up like in that style, and I'm like, oh no.
Another award that was just kind of handed off to the side. I don't think it was on the mentioned on the show, but it was one of those like casual mention things. Lara Croft Go won Best Mobile or Handheld Game.
Yeah, like I don't know, I'm not sure like how it actually is. Maybe was it well received? I guess it was to be nominated.
Well, if it's like Hitman Go, I've heard Hitman Go's good, so I don't know.
I will say I am happy Monster Hunter got nominated, which I think by itself is like pretty nice.
Yeah, there's that at least.
Moving on, another category we can go over: Best Sports/Racing Game.
I loved this one.
You wouldn't think we would cover this one, but the nominees were FIFA 16, Forza Motorsport 6, NBA 2K16, Pro Evolution Soccer 2016, and Rocket League. And Rocket League won.
That was great. That one was one, I think... Oh, this was off to the side? I thought Best Sports Racing Game was shown on the thing. Unless that was the other thing Rocket League got, which was... Oh, Best Independent Game went to Rocket League.
Yeah, they won that as well. But going back to the Best Sports thing, it's like, it's like, hey, here's an actual game that's like an original concept for like a competitive sport within a video game. So it's like, instead of like, a simulation or just a standard racing.
It's RC cars hitting giant balls into goals.
And
now we just need to get a new Mutant League football going and can win it another year.
Oh man, does that mean we can like bribe the coaches and stuff again?
I hope so.
Oh, there's another problem I've always had with the Game Awards, and it's mainly timing. Because I know this sounds kind of dumb, but like Xenoblade couldn't get nominated because they did this earlier this month in December, which makes me think, if they do a 2015 Game Awards, why not wait till like January?
This is something that
it just bugs me. Like, let everything come out to have a chance, unless you're going to count Xenoblade as a 2016 release, which is wrong.
But then
this is something that bothers me across multiple award ceremonies, is they do like of the year categories and the award shows in like March or something. It's like really weird timing.
Yeah, but even if they did the award shows like in January or something, it would be like it'd be like in 2016, best 2015 games. It might throw people off. Where it's like, wait.
Well, not even that. There's a dead zone like around Christmas and after Christmas where nothing's getting released. You could do it then.
Yeah, that's even better. Unless people are going out for the holidays to get ready.
I don't know how networking would really work in that regard, but then again, I don't even know if this was on
then
TV.
again, the Game Awards, ever since last year, it's been, actually ever since 2 years ago, it's been online only.
Yeah, it's not with Spike anymore.
Exactly, which
thank God.
Fucking God.
Nothing was sponsored by Mountain Dew at this show.
Which I will miss, ironically, but it's still good. Keep going.
So they showed some more like backstage shit, and then I know this is out of order, but then we got to the cringe category.
Can we talk about the green room with Star Wars Battlefront? I hated that.
We can talk about that after this.
Oh. Jeez.
Because there weren't just the regular awards, there were Fans' Choice Awards.
Oh, okay, we're talking about this now. Fuck, man.
Yeah, first let's start off with...
Which one? There's 6 options.
Esports Team of the Year.
Oh. God.
Congratulations, Optic Gaming.
Oh my god.
Batista, you should join FaZe.
Thumbs down.
Oh!
Before the Game Awards happened and like all the nominees went up, when I went to look at this, I think I nearly died of laughter when I saw Optic Gaming as a thing, and I'm like, is this a joke? Where the fuck is FaZe going? And the fact, the Fans' Choice, obviously, it's not voted by a preset jury like everyone else. It's obviously fan voted. I think Optic only won because of the MLG fucking joke videos. That has got to be the only reason it won.
Let's just say that's why they won.
Exactly. We don't care about esports. We're just laughing at this.
Well, that's the problem. If they're gonna choose to name themselves, or at least be coincidentally named after something like that, and I'm
just surprised they didn't show any sample feud on the fucking stage floor.
Yeah, that's just kind of the problem where it's like that we have a hard time taking it seriously. Which, competitive gaming can be, a serious thing. It's just. I guess that wasn't the best way to represent it.
Well, speaking of, 2 other awards we can just mention off the bat. Esports Player of the Year was Kenny S. I don't know who that is. Esports Game of the Year, Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Okay, well, a lot of people play that.
Counter-Strike.
Yeah, people play that really competitively, so yeah.
There was a Best Fan Creation category, which I would have liked to actually see that on the show.
Wait, Counter-Strike?
Yeah.
For Esports Game of the Year, yeah.
Okay, because I'm on the website and it did not even list any winner. It's like they filled in some, but not others.
Way to go.
Way to
Counter-Strike, go.
Counter-Strike, go home.
Hitman, go.
Warcraft, go home. But yeah, the best fan creation.
It included shit like Real GTA, Twitch Plays Dark Souls.
Why wasn't Twitch Plays Pokemon nominated? Oh, they probably would have gotten sued by the Pokemon company. So they probably
Anyway, Portal Stories Mel won that one.
Yeah.
Most
Which I'm not
anticipated
too
game went to No Man's Sky.
Yeah.
And
Which
then there
is-
was this category, which... Trending Gamer.
Oh, this was a category last year. And that one went to Total Biscuit last year.
This was my cringe category. The nominees were Greg Miller, Total Biscuit, Monte Cristo, Markiplier, and PewDiePie.
I only know 4 of those. I don't know who Monte Cristo is. Ooh!
And I was fearing the worst when they were going to announce this one, but it went to Greg Miller.
Which, if you don't know, I don't know if he... I know I said this before, like, off podcast, but I don't even know if he still works at IGN, but that's where I mainly knew him from. Never really paid too much attention to him, but I knew people liked him, so I just didn't have much to say on him. Still funny that it went to him.
He did give a good speech though.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, his speech afterward was pretty great.
Yeah, he really made it clear, like, to thank like all the people that put a lot of work into games and stuff like that. So
Yeah, you gotta give him credit.
exactly, and even though we're not like exactly like, I guess we favor like people like Markiplier and PewDiePie, you know, even if they won, I'm pretty sure they would have given the good.
This would have been a category, like, I think the best way to describe this category is we don't really give a shit.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, even if like people we didn't really care for that much, like one like Markiplier or PewDiePie, like even if they won,
We probably would have,
like.
if Cutie won it, we probably would have been like boo and then moved on with our lives instead of actually.
Let me finish. I was gonna say, like, it would have been like with Greg Miller. I'm pretty sure they would have given a nice heartfelt speech, because as far as I know, they seem like okay guys. It's just
which is perfectly fine. I still don't know who the fuck Monte Cristo is.
well,
Well, on to people who we do know who they are, because they had an Industry Icon Award that they gave out. And they gave it to Brett Sperry and Lewis Castle from Westwood Studios.
oh yeah, that was a good segment where they gave a good documentary kind of style bit about Westwood Studio and how much they influenced real-time strategy games.
They pretty much did something similar last year with like the King's Quest people or like the Sierra like founders.
Yeah, with
I forget their names, but I'm pretty sure they were
Roberta Williams.
Roberta Williams.
And last year, that led up to the announcement of the new King's Quest stuff.
Yeah,
that didn't happen with anything.
Yeah, I was
that
like,
Westwood did, which...
I was like, oh, fingers crossed, maybe new Command & Conquer, even though it kind of died off, in a way.
And instead, we got nothing. But what can you do?
Yeah, but then at the end, it was like, thanks everybody. Sorry, EA killed us. We're still dead.
Did they actually?
At the very least, I was hoping for maybe like, are they going to announce like a spiritual successor or something like that? And it's like
fund our Kickstarter.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, well, but at the very least, it was still nice to showcase that.
Yeah, like that's
as industry legends, that kind of thing.
As one thing that they kept from last year, I'm glad they kept that, because that was a good thing from last year. So that's definitely something they can keep doing unless they run out of industry icons.
I don't think they will.
Yeah, at this point, I think they will, unless the industry fucking dies.
Well, if the Earth blows up, then.
Yeah, which will be like end of this year.
Well, it was supposed to happen like 4 years ago, but
I know
It was supposed to happen a lot of times. Moving on.
So I don't even think they talked about best fighting game at all.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, winner was Mortal Kombat X, which, can we just point out that I think best fighting game had the lowest amount of nominees?
Well, exactly. I mean, that one you probably couldn't blame that they didn't really need to really showcase that much, where it's like...
Yeah, all they had was like Guilty Gear, Mortal Kombat X, Rise of Incarnates, and Rising Thunder. Rising Thunder, I think, is like an early access game too. So.
And Mortal Kombat X, it's like no-brainer. That's like a big one. So,
And I never heard of Rise of Incarnates.
Well, from that, let's go to Best Art Direction. And this is one that I kind of had my fingers crossed for one game, but I didn't think it would actually win. The nominees were Batman Arkham Knight, Bloodborne. That one I absolutely agreed with being nominated.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Dark Gothic stuff.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
The problem is, like...
on a technical level, those games were impressive.
Yeah, like...
Especially Metal Gear Solid 5.
Part of me thinks
Art direction,
this
though?
was combined with graphic direction, too. Because there's no best graphics category, so...
The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, and Ori and the Blind Forest. And Ori won.
Yay!
Because it probably had, like, the most visually interesting and appealing stuff compared to everything. Although, again, Bloodborne was also a good case, and maybe The Witcher, but...
Yeah, Witcher 3...
Metal Gear and Batman were, like, even though they're graphically good, it makes me wonder, like, art-wise, who knows? Like, it's hard to say. Like, I thought Arkham Knight's, like, art and graphics were fine, but Bloodborne had a great style to it, and Ori is obviously beautiful.
Yeah, like...
And The Witcher is Poland, fuck you.
Yeah, but, yeah, like I
We'll
mentioned
get to
earlier
that.
like I mentioned earlier with Ori, it's like, and then, yeah, I'm glad it won here, because, really good 2 yard in that one.
Then there was a band that performed, which I just used that as a bathroom break.
Oh yeah, I forget their name. Were they called Candles? I don't know.
I don't know.
Castles? What? Who?
Let's just move on to Best Role-Playing Game, which this was one of a couple of different categories Undertale was nominated for. It was them, Pillars of Eternity, Fallout 4, Bloodborne, and the winner, Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
There you go.
Yep.
And just as a spoiler for later, CD Projekt Red also won Developer of the Year. It was between them, Bethesda, from Kojima Productions, and Nintendo. Then there was the one that they didn't win, which was handled kind of oddly.
Oh yeah.
The best
Kind of
performance category. It had Mark Hamill as the Joker in Arkham Knight, Doug Cockle as Geralt in Witcher 3, Camilla Luddington as Lara Croft in Rise of the Tomb Raider, Ashley Birch as Chloe Prince in Life is Strange, and Viva Seifert in Her Story.
Oh, it's Chloe Price, not Prince, but, you know, you probably...
Yeah, I just mispronounced that, sorry.
Little Red Corvette.
But I didn't botch nearly as bad as the people at the show did, because they
God.
announced that the best performance winner was Viva Seifert for Witcher 3 Wild Hunt.
I think the best, like, we were laughing our ass off, but then, like, afterwards, we just got, like, a screen cap.
Yeah, the screen cap of the developer in the background with his hand up like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, exactly.
He sat right behind the female, Viva, like, that won the award. He was just like, what?
They got Doug Cockle blocked.
Oh my god, that was the best joke of the night. But, I was gonna say, like, we don't know if it was printed on the card incorrectly, which is possible. I would have liked to see visual proof, or Jade Raymond was so drunk that she was entirely stupid. Which either option is possible, especially since she pretty much, like, kind of dissed Kiefer Sutherland shortly after the whole MGS thing. About, like, oh, there's only one big boss. David Hayter, just kidding. But yeah, some people there like their drinks a lot. But that whole thing was pretty funny.
Another category I'll mention, Games for Impact. Life is Strange won that one.
Yeah, that wasn't even, like, mentioned at the thing. That was, like, off to the side. Like,
Yeah.
what?
Tremendous impact.
I should also bring up that Undertale got nominated for that category, as well as RPG and
Best
there was
independent
one
game.
other.
Independent game.
Oh, and it lost all of those. But, you know.
That it got nominated, though.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Monster Hunter, nomination's good. I should know. I got nominated for something once and didn't win. It took me years to realize that whatever. It's fine.
Oh, another mention of Her Story, which that also won Best Narrative, beating out the likes of Until Dawn, Witcher 3, Tales from the Borderlands, and Life is Strange. And then there was Best Action Adventure Game.
Oh man.
The nominees were Metal Gear Solid 5, Assassin's Creed Syndicate, Arkham Knight, Ori, and Rise of the Tomb Raider. Metal Gear Solid 5 won, but Kojima didn't accept the award. Kiefer Sutherland accepted the award.
And Kiefer had like a pretty decent speech relating to that stuff. But
then he gives a speech and walks away, and the camera cuts to Jeff Keighley facing the audience.
He was facing the camera with the audience directly behind him.
Yeah. And he mentions that Hideo Kojima wanted to be here to accept the award, but he couldn't because Konami's lawyers barred him from attending.
And then the boos.
And then the entire audience booed. And it pretty much resulted in Jeff Keighley calling out Konami, saying he pretty much saying it's kind of disrespectful that you wouldn't let this guy come up and get his fucking award. He should definitely be here. We're all thinking about you.
That took some balls from Jeff Keighley.
Yeah, dude, there were so many fucking game journalists and everyone that were pretty much saying, yeah, good job, Jeff. You're the fucking best for doing that.
Actually, this is a story I was holding off from gaming news because I could mention it here. You know who else slammed Konami for its treatment of Kojima?
Shit, who?
Former Square Enix president Yoichi Wada.
Oh yeah, right. Damn. That, to all of us, was probably made the show. Because not only did Konami's balls get exposed live on stream, but it was glorious. Which made it even better. Should also note, I think Metal Gear won another category as well.
The soundtrack category.
Oh yeah! And for reference,
Yeah,
that Fallout 4, Ori, Witcher, and
which
Halo 5.
led to the live performance of a song from it.
Oh yeah, Stephanie Justin was there. Did the vocal performance happen after Konami's balls being exposed or before?
It was after.
Okay. Yeah, that happened. That was a better performance than... Who? Who were the other guys?
Well, it was a better performance than the ending, but we'll get to that.
Oh, don't even talk about that.
We are.
For now, we have to mention there was a crowdfunding thing that was announced at the show. Because Tim Schafer walked out on stage, and he announced that there was going to be a FIG crowdfunding campaign for Psychonauts 2.
Let's just say that this came out of nowhere.
Yeah, pleasantly
just
surprised. Pleasantly surprised to see that because I did enjoy Psychonauts. I played on the PlayStation 2, and
I'll give you an update right now.
well, yeah, how's it doing? Because it's still going
80%.
as of this.
We're at 80%.
They're asking for $3.3 million, and they're currently 80% of the way there. They still have 28 days left.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might pitch into that too because I would want to get that.
For people who are wondering why this is on FIG and not Kickstarter or Indiegogo, part of the reason is that FIG is a platform that offers the opportunity to invest in Psychonauts 2, large sums of money with the opportunity of getting revenue back, which is part of the reason that the goal is so high. But anyway, moving on from that, I think we've done everything except Game of the Year?
Before we do that, I want to talk about the other side stuff that was not great.
Oh, right. I was blocking that out. Sorry, go ahead.
Green Room, I think it was called, where they kept talking about Battlefront, advertising it with iJustine. Anytime that came up, I wanted to take a piss break in my bottle. I didn't, though, because I'm just like, no. I saved the bathroom break for that unnamed band that I don't remember. But, I forget how many times they did it, but I'm just like, please stop. There was one guy when they got to in the green room that was it was actually cringe. It was actually hard to watch because this guy was just such a shithead. I'm just like, please stop. I do not remember it.
Well, from what I recall, they were more or less just simple
it may have
interviews.
been the Disney Infinity guy. I think that was the guy that made me just say, please stop.
Yeah, he seemed a little too
He was
enthusiastic.
funny at E3 unintentionally, but here I'm just like, no.
A little too enthusiastic, I think.
Toys! Yeah!
You'll buy them.
You'll buy them? Shin Pokemon! You got to buy it.
Just like all the amiibos.
From there, let's go to Game of the Year. The nominees were Mario Maker, Bloodborne, Witcher 3, Fallout 4, and Metal Gear Solid 5. And the winner, completing the Poland fuck yeah trifecta, Witcher 3.
Witcher 3 from Her Story. Wait, no. So yeah, they won. If we're looking at the categories for Game of the Year, like, I'm okay with it, I think.
Yeah. Although I should actually, try out the Witcher games sometime, because, they're that good.
Like, in some way, I thought Metal Gear might have taken it. Might have. But not as personal preference, but just, like, going by the mindset of how these work.
Now,
I had a feeling.
If Konami didn't make the changes after the game came out, that kind of screwed with the multiplayer, do you think it would have won?
Possibly. If the game was finished, maybe. Like, if we actually had Chapter 3 released and everything, and the game came out, say, next year instead, maybe. I don't know. But part of me thinks that Fallout 4 being on there wasn't a great idea, but...
Well,
since
it was
it's a big release,
there.
They kind of had to.
Yeah, it was just there, kind of a big release. I don't even think Fallout 4 really won anything, though, so...
It didn't.
No, it didn't.
Yeah.
Bloodborne didn't win anything, Fallout won nothing.
So,
And we're not going to talk about the Bud Light shit, because fuck.
Yeah, instead of Mountain Dew, we have Bud Light now.
Yeah, I feel bad for Kyle Bossman, because he's relatively cool, but it's pretty clear, like... I was like, of course it's an advertisement. It's pretty clear, but I'm just like, fuck. Who drinks Bud Light anyway?
What is it even for, anyway? And yeah, and as a Canadian...
I do not remember. It was
and
just...
as a Canadian, I can definitely confirm that...
it was like,
Bud Light.
imitate your favorite character in the game or something?
It was like asking people or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't know, it was something stupid.
Like, your favorite
poor
game character
Bossman,
or
he should
game
have known
moment or
better.
something like that?
Maybe.
Or, like, imitations?
I think that was it.
Well, whatever gets the award show their money from advertising the water flavored beer. So
Now, we're not even talking about pre-show stuff, because, like, I got home, like, right around, like, about 10 minutes before the show started, which means I caught a new episode of regular show before I even bothered watching this. But looking back, apparently there was stuff in the pre-show that was kind of... So I'm glad I didn't watch it. Because we need Jeff Keighley saying funny GIFs and memes.
Well, they did Game of the Year near the end of the show. It wasn't the end of the show, though.
Oh!
right.
Because right after that, they did another segment, and they came back, and Deadmau5 was on stage.
And he did a... performance?
If we want to call it that?
I was gonna say music performance, but then I just cut that word out.
It was like a loud droning bass, and then you could sometimes hear music in the background over it.
Yeah. It could be...
Well,
we
could be...
We could barely tell at times what the music was.
Well, we could tell. I mean, he did there were some remixes and sound mixing of stuff from Super Mario World, like the booze theme and
If he wasn't wearing the
I almost
ghost
thought you
cheat at the
said the
time, it would have
booze.
taken me a long time to figure that out.
Blondie, I thought you said the booze theme, as in drink. It's like, yeah, that's probably what happened.
yeah, drink Bud Light.
Drink Bud Light.
You won't get drunk because it's mostly water. But
Well, that's pretty much everything, but I wanted to, well, not exactly end our talk about it, but the last thing, recap-wise, I think we should talk about was the tribute.
oh,
Yes, the tribute to Satoru Iwata that happened in the middle.
Yeah, that, I think, taking the Konami thing out of the equation, I think that may have been my favorite part of the night because of, how, respectful it was. It definitely felt right. You
Yeah,
know?
and they had Reggie come up and say some words about Iwata.
I nearly started to tear up. I had to leave the Skype call because there was too much noise and I wanted to hear everything at the time. But I'm looking back over it. Part of me I'm just looking at Reggie and I feel like he's close to crying, but he's keeping his composure really well. Because that stuff hurts. It really does.
Yeah, there was only one problem I had with it, and it's a minor gripe, admittedly. They started off by showing pictures of Iwata over some music.
Oh god.
And they showed the picture from the 3DS It Prints Money GIF, and I'm like, why would you show that one?
I know, like, I was just like feeling sad that I see that one. I'm just silently going, no, of all the things, you had to pick that one. Like, I wanted to laugh, but it wouldn't be right. Also, it's the regular DS that prints money, but you know. But,
right.
But it showed a lot of pictures that, I think we've all seen, like, many times before, like, the three of them at E3, all that stuff. We've seen all these things, but it just reminds us, you know, that he was there, but he's gone now.
There was a president of Nintendo here. He's gone now.
Yeah, I mean, God, like, if anything, I think our whole thing watching that was probably one of the bigger sort of moment of silences we needed, and Reggie definitely had a great speech. It was really good. But yeah, I think that was pretty much everything.
Any final notes on this?
Did we say that best indie game went to Rocket League?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
Rocky League?
Rocky League,
Hockey
yes.
and Rocky League?
Hockey League, because the ice hockey update is out right now.
Oh boy.
Go
Hockey
play it
League
until
sounds like
January.
a racketeering thing for an anime con.
How many other game reveals happened? Like, we said Psychonauts, and we said,
They said they had, announcements, but it was mostly stuff we already knew about.
Yeah, like Uncharted 4 and...
Yeah, the reveals this time, there was only one notable one that wasn't Shaq. I'm not calling that one notable, I'm just calling that who was there, and he was, taller than every other esports player when they came up on stage for Optic Gaming. Just hearing Shaq say the words Optic Gaming, I think we need to use that for something.
Pretty sure people already have.
Oh, I can't wait to look up post-podcast.
Shaq joins FaZe.
No, please. No, Kobe Bryant joins FaZe to battle Optic. Shaquille O'Neal. So, suggestions for next year. Please, for the love of God, stop putting awards aside.
Yeah, I mean,
Please.
I will say this. I didn't see last year's, which I did hear was better than the year before's anyway, but considering what I went through 2 years ago, this was a bit of a relief, at least.
And
to see that the show is at least going in a decent direction.
Yeah, especially since Jeff is pretty much doing this out of his own pocket still, I think. That was the case last year, which is commendable. I also wanted to point out, musical guest-wise, last year was better. Honestly. The only good music performance was Stephanie Justin. Last year they had Imagine Dragons perform, 2 songs. One, I think, on their own, and then at the end they did, a song with Koji Kondo. Yes, that happened. They actually had Koji Kondo perform.
Oh, I think I remember hearing about that.
And I was, fine with that. But although I think the coolest performance was, I don't remember the people's names, but it was, this laser light show where, they would, put their hands over the laser, and it would, make music, and it just, it seemed crazy. I'm like, what is happening? Why is this kind of good?
Oh hey, that's how the Sega Activator happened.
Yeah, except one of them works 20 plus years later. But yeah, I'd say next year get better musical guests. Find a way to just stop the shoving award aside thing. I mean, that may be hard to manage because the shows are 2 hours. I'd say maybe extend the show a little bit.
I don't know. If you're pushing 3 hours, that's a bit long for an award show.
Yeah, I'd say give it an extra half hour, which may be weird, but maybe it's needed.
Well, that's the problem though. It's they have to juggle all the awards and the new reveals and trailers and stuff like that, and then
yeah, except this year's amounts of reveals weren't as great, honestly.
or not as didn't seem there be not as many, but even then.
I think I had one other suggestion, which I don't think is ever going to change. Reduce cringe, please? I mean, I'd say there was still more... I want to say there was slightly more cringy stuff last year, which still isn't as bad as the one that doesn't exist, but I think the most cringy stuff I had was mostly the advertised stuff, to be fair. there was cringe stuff that happened, well, in the show last year. And, like, fuck. It was this one guy, that was funny at first, but then got worse as it went on. That's what I remember. I forget the guy's name, but I don't remember if they introduced the whole legend thing from that year or not. It's so hard to remember because I just didn't want to. But aside from that, like, this was fine. But
it's
also,
fine.
and and the last thing, if you're gonna make Game of the Year obvious, try not to, because it was pretty clear Witcher was gonna win with how many times it got nominated in the categories. Like, when I saw how many times Witcher 3 got nominated, it's like, it's gonna win Game of the Year. Dragon Age happened the same thing. Like, I'm not complaining about Witcher 3, I'm just like, it's too obvious that what the winner is, unless you just pull a complete haha and then just say, no, actually, it's fucking Devil's Third as Game of the Year.
It came out too late.
It's too late. It came out way too late. Is there anything you guys would want to, like, change?
You pretty much hit all the points I was going to mention.
Yeah. I think we already covered them.
Well, in that case, let's just get away from our discussion and move on to viewer questions. And our question this week comes from nobody.
Come on, people, don't be shy. You can ask anything.
They don't even know.
Like I'm about to ask.
Well, almost anything.
Like I'm about to ask, if you were a multivitamin, what kind of birthday card would you want?
What? How does vitamins and birthday cards go together?
You're only doing this because it's my birthday, isn't it?
Mine would have the Hoover Dam and Sonic the Hedgehog.
What?
What the fucking question?
How about yours?
Pass.
I can't even comprehend, like, at the formulated answer with this. It's like, all I heard was multivitamins, birthday card, and then Sonic, and then Hoover Dam. How am I supposed to come up with something from
Da Vinci Code this shit, come on.
What the...
Come on, Tom Hanks? I can't remember if he was in the movie or not, or that was No, it's not Tim Allen, no way.
It's Tim Allen, no.
I just think Tom Hanks or Tim Allen because Toy Story logic.
I'm pretty sure that was Tom Hanks, if you think of the Da Vinci Code movie.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like,
But I don't fucking know, like... You know what, Mario in Las Vegas, there, I threw in a random character in a random place.
I don't know.
That's the best I can do, just based off of that. I can't... Your question made about as much sense for me to try and comprehend as Devil's Third.
I'll take that as a compliment. So, if anyone wants to ask us a question that actually makes sense, go ahead and ask us in the YouTube comments, on the Facebook post, on the site post, send us a direct message, or just ask us directly on Facebook at facebook.com/RiverCityGamers. For now, though, we are going into video updates, and you know what? I'll start us off. I have a couple of things to announce. One is that I haven't had much time to do Strumming the Bassline lately, but I am going to have one ready for this coming weekend. And you know what? I'll just go ahead and say what game it's from. This week I'm doing Persona 4. I wasn't going to at first, but I have the Persona 4 soundtrack as like one of the multiple soundtracks on my MP3 player. And there was one song that came on from it that I'm like, I really like this bass line. So then I decided to play it. Look forward to that. Also, this weekend I'm going to have the last of the videos from the Fearless Marathon, at least as far as games are concerned. Spoilers, it's another ridiculously short game.
Like all of them were.
And then after that, we're going to get into a game that I played by myself, which I shouldn't have played by myself because it's the most confusing thing I've played. Well, for Fearless at least.
Oh, Fearless.
Oh.
I was going to mention a moment from it, but no, I really shouldn't spoil anything from it.
So, this is new Fearless, not Marathon Fearless.
This is new Fearless.
Okay.
Kind of like that one clown killing one.
The clown one where he
The cloud one where I launched into space.
Or the one where you shot the wrong guy immediately and it just abruptly ended with that shit.
Well, I was just saying that in terms of like ones you did by yourself. Is it like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one I did by myself, so no one else has seen it.
Right. Okay.
And beyond that, I'm hoping to have the next episode of $5 Gaming ready by the new year. And then after that, because of one rather generous patron, I have to do Stone Keep Bones of the Ancestors next.
Yay!
You know what the most frustrating part of that is?
What?
Stone Keep Bones of the Ancestors is an eShop only game. Unlike, say, what I did for Urban Chaos, I can't drop kick my Wii console because I hate the game so much.
Transfer the data on an SD card and then smash the SD card.
I need my SD cards though.
Well, just get like a really get like a really small one, then, like a 256 megabyte one or something. Then.
If somebody can get me a 10 megabyte SD card.
Do those even exist? Like, what was the smallest? Like,
If someone wants to make me a 10 megabyte SD card, I will drop kick it on camera.
What was the actual like smallest SD card that was first made? You know, I think about it, or I don't know.
I don't know.
Like the smallest I could think of was like a 256 megabyte, and that was like with my family's first digital camera, which incidentally was also one of the cameras I used in my old videos, video-wise.
You know what, I'll look that up while other people are doing their video updates, but I will mention, Unreal, at some point over the holiday break, we're going to record the first part of Michigan Report from Hell.
I was waiting for that.
And on that note, Unreal, take it away.
So, my video update is waiting for Michigan Report for Hell.
There you go.
Although I do have a little request for you.
For
Would
me?
you like to, down the line, maybe sometime next year, to collab on Devil's Third?
As like a playthrough or a review or...
Oh god, not a playthrough. If I did a playthrough, I don't even know how much I'd have to cut. I'd say review.
We witnessing the.
Oh! I remembered the thing I wanted to mention about Devil's Third before.
Oh no, what?
You are going to hate this one part in Chapter 4. There is a moment where you're going through the Japanese district, you kick open a door and there are 3 guys with guns on the other side. You have almost no time to react before they start riddling you with bullets and you die.
I think I saw that in the Best Friends LP. Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
So just be ready for
like,
that.
Is this like after... No, wait. I think I know where it is.
Okay, that's it. No more Devil's Third for the rest of the podcast.
Not until next
Yeah,
time.
right.
But would you be okay with doing a review? Because, like,
Sure.
even before it came out, I'm like, since we're the only 2 buying this game, I think we should.
I might get it eventually if
If you could find a copy.
Well, exactly. It might disappear faster than like Wonderful 101, and that's another game.
Actually, hold on. Is it in the download shop?
eShop? I think so. But
Well,
I've heard that it's like, you have to, it's a pain in the ass to find in the eShop.
Wow,
So, like,
even
they're
there?
actually burying...
Hold on. I'm on the
want this
eShop
baby.
right now. I'm gonna check this out while you guys do your thing.
What thing?
Video updates.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. But like, I'm outside of that in Michigan, I still am interested in that one idea, the second wind idea. But again, I haven't like the game I wanted to start with. I still can't find locally in it. I'm just too lazy to buy it off eBay because I have other things I just want to focus on purchasing. Not Devil's Third. Don't even talk to me about why I impulsively bought it.
I didn't impulsively buy it. I planned this.
Oh, I know you did. You talked about it for months. Well, kinda. Like, you know.
Okay, for real. Enough.
I'm sorry, it's just like, no matter what, it always goes back to that fucking game.
By the way, you can buy it digitally.
How?
Yeah, but
But like, I know you could, but like, how much is
How much is it?
No, like how much
How big
time
is
did
it?
it take for you to find in the eShop?
Oh.
Well, I'm on my computer right now. Not long.
Oh, well, okay. Like, Lonnie, well, you talk about your thing, because I'm practically done with my updates. I will go to the Wii U eShop, buy a console, and see how long it takes.
Okay, well, those two are just going on the the Wii U shop. I got footage for another Little Black Sheep game review. In fact, it was a really short game to record. It was like around 2 hours of footage that I only needed for that game. So that was really a fast one to play through and record. I still need to get around to actually finish scripting it and putting that together. So at the very least, that's going to be out this month. And I've also started recording Tales of Symphonia, and I'm a few hours into that game recording wise, because it's a Tales game. It's going to be at least 40 hours of footage at the very least. Other than my usual review stuff, me and SCR have been talking about maybe trying to do something that I've been wanting to do on the River City Gamers channel for like 2 years practically, or over 2 years. It involves like commentating on stuff. That's all I'm really going to allude to. I hope to get that arranged and that we can actually get around to doing it. It'll involve me, SCR, and someone else. I won't say who, just to keep it at least somewhat vague of what I've kind of wanted to do for the River City Gamers YouTube for quite a while. But that should be it, at least for video updates for me. How are you guys doing on the eShops?
Oh, I'm not doing that. Unreal's doing that.
What? Wait,
Any
what
update?
am I doing?
Thought you said you were trying to find Devil's Third
yeah,
on the
I'm
eShop.
still looking. I got sidetracked.
Okay, well, we gotta drag out the podcast a little longer.
Hey, don't worry about it. Let me try the search function. Well,
That's what I did.
I want to see how, it's not in best selling. First of all.
Well, it's not GameStop or GameSpot.
But I want to see if you could get there without the search. News. What's new on the eShop? Not Devil's Third. Because that came out the day after. Oh my god. Jesus, this is so fucking hard to find. Oh, number one on eShop, Xenoblade Chronicles X. Number 2, Fast Racing Neo.
That's good.
Virtual console games are higher. Demos, DLC, bestsellers, multiplayer games. Watch me go to price drop and okay, I go to multiplayer games and Devil's Third is at the top. That's still not the one thing you know, because it has multiplayer, but it's not exclusive. Other than that, yeah, good luck.
Well, you found it, so now I'm gonna end the podcast.
Yeah, just please.
Once again,
I am
I'm
Unreal.
SCXCR.
And I'm Blondeguygamer.
We're gonna play
Guess what I'm
Xenoblade.
going to play?
Oh, you
Okay,
wanna
you're
play
going to
Fast
play
Racing?
Xenoblade.
Don't
Okay,
play
you can play
fucking
Fast
Devil's
Racing.
Third.
That's all we ever
Why
talked
not?
about in
I
this
don't have it.
podcast.
All the singing dark matter, every minute matters. Live a while, other lives shatter, seek it, go scatter. As they pour out, we can tangle them. It's a car taking over the cave, unexpected, hard to accept it. Getting marked with death, seeking friends, snatched and darkly possessed. The thought inside.